Tonight, you don't need to focus. You don't need to imagine anything clearly. You don't need to remember every word. Just let the sound of my voice stay with you as the day slowly fades away. If this helps you relax, you can gently like this video or subscribe so you can always find your way back here. There will be no sudden sounds, no interruptions, just a calm story and the quiet rhythm of the night. Now, take a slow breath in and let it go. The story begins the morning light spilled through the tall windows of the boathouse, casting warm, elongated shadows over the worn wooden floor. Ever rubbed the sleep from his eyes as he stood, stretching slightly under the low-beamed ceiling. The scent of salt water and damp wood lingered in the air, a familiar comfort that had settled into his routine. Outside, the gentle lap of waves against the shore murmured a steady rhythm, harmonizing with the distant call of gulls soaring over the coastline. Ever took a moment to collect his thoughts, appreciating the quiet solitude that enveloped the small structure. The lighthouse stood sentinel on the rocky outcrop nearby, its silhouette stark against the backdrop of the deep blue sea. He could see the sun, a brilliant orb rising higher, illuminating the white paint of its tower, which needed a fresh coat before the season of travelers began. With a soft sigh, he turned to his list. It was worn but meticulously kept, each task a gentle reminder of the order he found so soothing. The first jotting, "Inspect the boathouse," drew his attention. He gathered his tools, the comforting weight of the hammer and the box of nails filling his hands. Ever stepped out onto the weather-beaten deck, noting the slight chill in the morning air, a stark contrast to the warmth of the sunlight now embracing the surface of the water. He walked along the edge of the dock, soft wood creaking beneath his feet, surveying the small fleet of boats bobbing lazily in their moorings. Each vessel bore the marks of storms weathered and adventures had, and he felt a connection to them, a reminder that life was shaped by both care and the unpredictable nature of the sea. Ever reached for the knot that held the nearest boat in place, his fingers deftly loosening it with practiced ease. He pulled it free, then gently pushed the boat away from the dock, watching it drift a few feet before securing it to the adjacent mooring post. He glanced up briefly at the lighthouse, its beam now sweeping across the water, searching for the unseen vessels that might wander too close to the jagged rocks. With the first task complete, he moved on to the boathouse's interior. Dust motes danced in the sunbeams that broke through the cracked windows, illuminating the shelves lined with ropes, nets, and various tools. Ever enjoyed the delicate order he had created, each item placed with purpose, each knot tied with care. He picked up a length of frayed rope, its fibers still strong despite their age, and set to work mending it, fingers weaving through the strands with a rhythmic patience. As he worked, he heard a gentle splash nearby, the sound signaling the presence of something just out of sight. He stopped momentarily, his brow furrowing in thought. It was odd. He had expected to see a fish or perhaps a seal breaking the surface, but no fin or flipper surfaced. He shrugged it off, focusing instead on the rope, appreciating the texture in his hands as he knotted the fibers together, remembering how his father had taught him to tie each knot, emphasizing the importance of precision and caring for one's tools. Hours slipped by like the tide. The sun climbed higher, casting a golden hue over everything. Ever meticulously checked the windows, ensuring they were secure, washing away the remnants of salt that had accumulated over time. Each stroke of the cloth soothed him, transforming the glass into a clear portal to the outside world. At noon, he decided it was time for a break. He strolled to the edge of the dock, savoring the warmth of sunlight on his skin. The sea stretched out endlessly before him, a blanket of undulating blue, the waves glistening like diamonds scattered across a soft quilt. Evar took a deep breath, inhaling the fresh scent of the ocean, the salty breeze cooling his skin. He watched the horizon, where the sky met the water, feeling a gentle tug of curiosity about what lay beyond. Yet, the draw of his work always prevailed. He turned back to the boathouse, returning to his projects, reveling in the ritual of care that grounded him. In the early afternoon, the splendor of the day continued, though a change danced in the air, an unseen awareness that made the hair at the back of Ivar's neck stand on end. He moved to the interior of the boathouse, continuing his task of sorting tools. As he reached for a rusty anchor, a flash of silver flickered in his peripheral vision. He turned his head quickly, but nothing was there, just the quiet water and the rippling surface reflecting scattered clouds. Shrugging the unease off, he resumed his routine, his hammer meeting nail with a satisfying thud as he repaired the side of the boathouse. Each thump resonated a kind of harmony against the backdrop of crashing waves and the soft rustle of wind whispering through the trees. With each stroke, Ever felt the space come alive, each repair breathing new life into the old structure. When mid-afternoon settled in, the sunlight began to soften, casting long shadows across the shoreline. Ivar took a moment to sit on the dock, legs dangling over the edge, feeling the gentle lapping of water against the wood. He closed his eyes briefly, allowing the sounds of nature to embrace him. There was simplicity in the rhythm of the day, a soothing cadence he had come to rely on. The distant lighthouse beaconed pulsed softly in the backdrop, a reassuring presence that reminded him of the importance of safety and guidance. Ever thought of the sailors he had spotted over the years, navigating homeward, relying on that steady light to lead them safely to shore. There was a certain magic in those moments, a quiet acknowledgment of the life that interwove with his care for the boathouse. Just as he opened his eyes, a flicker of movement caught his attention again. This time, he peered into the water, scanning the depths for the source. It was then that he saw a flash of gray just beneath the surface. A fish, perhaps, or something larger, but the water gave no hints. Evar felt a blend of intrigue and wariness, an unshakable sense that there was more beneath the surface than met the eye. Brushing aside the curious thought, he returned to his repairs, tightening screws and applying fresh paint where needed. The sun dipped lower, casting a warm golden light around the boathouse, giving it a softer appearance, as though it belonged to another time. As dusk approached, Ever lit the lanterns lining the entrance to the boathouse, their flickering flames casting flickering shadows that danced with the growing darkness. The day had been rich with productivity. He could hear the distant sound of waves in a more pronounced roll, a comforting hymn that signaled the closeness of night. With the lanterns aglow, the boathouse felt welcoming and warm, a sanctuary against the now darkening world outside. Ever took his time packing away his tools, his hands moving with familiarity, the feeling of satisfaction settling in as dusk gave way to evening. He stepped outside once more, leaning against the railing of the dock, the twilight air cool against his skin. The sky transformed into a canvas of deep blues and purples, scattered stars beginning their nightly dance overhead. The lighthouse stood like a guardian, its light still tracing an arc over the waves, a beacon of calm amidst the encroaching night. A soft breeze stirred, carrying the faint scent of something floral from the nearby overgrown garden, intertwining the familiar smells of wood and sea. Ivar took a moment to close his eyes, breathing in deeply as though to memorize the essence of the dusk. He felt centered, secure in the knowledge that he had tended to the day's responsibilities. Time slipped by, and the stars brightened, twinkling softly in the vast expanse above. Evar decided to spend the last moments of his day by the water, letting the sounds of the ocean wash away the lingering sense of mystery. The gentle waves whispered secrets, and Ivar listened, feeling the connection to the vastness of the world around him. As the hours turned deeper, he finally returned to the boathouse, pulling the door close behind him. The interior, now aglow with lantern light, felt like a refuge. He settled in for the night, his work complete, the soft lapping of the waves providing a gentle lullaby. The night stretched on, calm and still, the stars watching over the boathouse as Ivar drifted into a peaceful slumber, held by the warmth of the day's quiet accomplishments and the whispers of the sea. The night wore on with an unhurried grace, wrapping the boathouse in a serene stillness that seemed to extend infinitely. Ivar drifted through dreams, caught between the realms of wakefulness and sleep, where the gentle sounds of the waves intertwined with the fragments of his thoughts. The lanterns offered a comforting glow, their soft light flickering in rhythm with the gentle dance of shadows on the wooden walls. As the clock on the wall struck midnight, an unusual sound broke the calm, pulling Ivar from his peaceful slumber. It was a soft but distinct splash, a sound that didn't belong to the regular patter of waves against the dock. Rubbing the sleep from his eyes, he sat up, the weight of the day's work slipping away as curiosity took hold. Quietly, Ever rose and slipped on his shoes, careful not to disturb the peaceful atmosphere that enveloped him. The boathouse was still warm, the air filled with the faint scent of wood and oil from his tools. He opened the door slowly, the hinges creaking softly, and stepped outside into the cool night air. The stars above shone brightly, casting a silver light over the water that glimmered like scattered diamonds. Peering into the darkness of the waters, Ever strained to make out any shapes or movements beneath the surface. The moon had risen higher, its beams illuminating the coastal waters with a silvery sheen. There it was again, the splash had echoed softly in the stillness, and Ivar felt a surge of curiosity mixed with exhilaration. Taking a cautious step closer to the water's edge, he glanced around, searching for the source. The waves lapped gently against the boat dock, creating a rhythm that was soothing yet charged with anticipation. Suddenly, he caught sight of a ripple, unusual in its formation, not created merely by the wind or passing boat. Ivar's heart raced slightly, but he approached the dock with a calm resolve. He leaned over, peering down into the depths, his breath catching as a large shape moved beneath the water. It glided effortlessly, reflecting the moonlight, casting shadows that danced along the sandy bottom. Though his chest tightened with a mix of anticipation and uncertainty, he couldn't draw himself away. Days spent repairing the boats had taught him the language of the ocean, the colors, the sounds, the creatures that inhabited its depths. This was something different, however, a mystery wrapped in the night. After a moment, he called out softly, "Hello." The silence that followed was profound, the waves humming their gentle response, but Ivar sensed movement beneath the surface. The shape, almost sleek and shimmering, paused before darting away, leaving behind soft ripples that faded slowly. "What are you?" he murmured to himself, a smile creeping across his lips. The intrigue had awakened something within him, a playfulness that the day's work rarely allowed him to explore. He stood at the dock for a while longer, captivated by the unfolding mystery. The gentle murmur of the waves enveloped him, and for that moment the world felt imbued with possibility. As he turned to head back inside, the cool breeze brushed against his skin, carrying with it the faint sounds of the ocean's lullaby, coaxing him back toward sleep. Once inside, he settled back in his sturdy chair, letting the weight of the day's fatigue settle into his bones. The lantern's golden light wrapped around him like a comforting quilt as he recalled the shimmering figure in the water. Was it a fish, a playful dolphin, or something else entirely? The questions danced in his mind, mingling with the remnants of dreams that refused to fade away completely. As he allowed his thoughts to meander, the rhythmic sounds of the waves continued their calming serenade, lulling him deeper into relaxation. Evar found himself drifting between wakefulness and a light slumber, lulled by the gentle ebb and flow of the water outside. The night wore on with the tranquil passage of time, and Ivar dreamed of the mysterious presence in the water. Images of silvery fish flickering like stars beneath the surface swirled through his mind, weaving in and out of the darkness. Each time he reached for the fleeting images, they transformed into shimmering lights, guiding him toward an unknown destination. As dawn approached, the horizon began to blush softly with hints of pink and gold. The air in the boathouse remained cool, a contrast to the warmth of the lantern that stood vigil by his side. Ever stirred awake, blinking sleep from his eyes, and the dreams faded like morning mist. The sound of waves continued, steady and calming, grounding him in the reality of the present. He rose from his chair and stretched, feeling the gentle pull of the morning in his limbs. The air was fresh, with an invigorating mildness that hinted at the promise of a beautiful day ahead. Stepping outside, he took a deep breath, filling his lungs with the scent of the sea. The world around him was painted anew, bathed in the soft light of dawn. The sky transformed into a canvas of gentle hues, the sun casting long shadows as it slowly emerged from the horizon. Ever leaned against the railing of the dock, recalling the strange shape he had seen in the water last night. With the morning sun now warming his back, he scanned the surface of the water, hoping to catch another glimpse of the shimmering figure that had intrigued him so. The ocean shimmered with the early light, each wave sparkling as it washed against the shore. He felt a pull toward the water, an urgent curiosity that drove him to gather his fishing gear. Perhaps he would encounter the source of his midnight mystery this morning, or at the very least, a reminder of the enchanting moments the sea held. Ivar moved purposefully, casting the small boat adrift with a light heart. The closer he got to the water, the more he felt connected to its ancient rhythms and secrets. Paddling into the calm morning, he allowed himself to relax, the gentle sway of the small boat a soothing reminder of the world around him. The sun continued its ascent, illuminating the waters in a soft glow, and he looked down, hoping for a glimpse of last night's fleeting presence. The rhythmic sound of the oar slicing through the water was a melody of its own, resonating with the nature surrounding him. As he drifted further, Ivar marveled at the stillness, the tranquility of the moment washing over him like the gentle waves. Time passed almost imperceptibly as he cast his line into the water, the bait twirling gently before sinking. He sat patiently, the embrace of the morning soothing his senses, and while he waited, he let his mind wander. Thoughts of his family, the land he'd left behind, and the decision that led him here danced lightly in his mind. Life in the boathouse had been a choice of solitude and peace, and in these moments he felt deeply grateful for the beauty it brought him. The water remained undisturbed for some time, and just as he was about to pull his line in, a flicker of movement caught his eye just below the surface. At first, he thought it was the play of sunlight, but then he saw it again, the same shimmering shape from the night before. Without thinking, Ivar leaned over the side of the boat, the cool air colliding with the warmth of the sun on his back. The shape danced beneath him, twisting and turning in a graceful ballet. It surfaced briefly, and he caught a glimpse of a silver sheen, a creature unlike any he had seen before, its eyes glinting with an intelligent curiosity. "I won't hurt you," he promised softly, feeling an unexpected bond forming. The creature paused, watching him for a moment that stretched into eternity. Mirth danced within its sharp gaze as though urging him to know more. Ivar's heart raced, wanting nothing more than to share this moment of wonder. Time felt like it paused, allowing him a connection to something extraordinary. But like a dream, the moment slipped away as the creature dove back beneath the waves, leaving only ripples in its wake. For a long while thereafter, he simply sat, fishing line forgotten in the water, as he reflected on the enchanting encounter. The sun climbed higher in the sky, casting warmth upon him, filling him with a feeling of wonder that he hadn't experienced in years. The morning slipped into afternoon, the sun now shining brightly above, transforming the calm waters into a vast mirror reflecting the blue of the sky. Ivar resumed his line, casting it again, a small smile lingering on his lips. He could feel that today held more than just fishing, it held promise, expectation, the thrill of the unknown waiting just beneath the surface. As the sun traced its path across the sky and the tide gently ebbed and flowed, Ivar found contentment in the rhythms of nature. Each moment felt alive, a thread woven into the fabric of his life by the sea. With anticipation knitting itself into his heart, he continued to fish, hoping that the mysterious presence might reveal itself again. The afternoon wore on, and Ivar stayed by the water, a feeling of calm and joy wrapping around him. He would wait patiently beside the dock, sharing secrets only the ocean could tell, dreaming of the enigmatic creature that had danced in the depths, leaving behind a lingering sense of magic that felt just within reach. The sun climbed higher, reaching its zenith, casting dappled shadows of the boathouse's worn beams onto the dock. Ivar's hands rested on the sides of the wooden boat, fingers lightly tracing the grain, feeling the warmth that radiated from the sunlit wood. The water remained a still canvas, only occasionally disturbed by a gentle breeze that danced across the surface, sending ripples to the edges of the cove. With the air filled with the scent of salt and the faint musk of seaweed, he turned his gaze out toward the horizon. The sky was an endless blue expanse, occasionally dotted with seagulls gliding effortlessly, their calls echoing softly. It was the serene kind of day that wrapped around him, making time feel fluid, almost dreamlike. As he lulled in the rhythmic sounds of nature, Ivar's thoughts drifted back to the curious creature he had seen earlier. Before he knew it, he was leaning over the edge of the boat again, peering into the water. His heart beat a little faster, hoping for another glimpse of the shimmering figure that had captivated him. The water was clear and inviting, an azure world faintly swirling with hints of green and brown from the underwater landscape. He cast his line once more, the lure splashing gently as it landed in the water. Each ripple expanded outward, a whisper of promise filling the air. He watched intently, holding his breath, as though he expected the creature to appear immediately, drawn by the flicker of movement in the water. But only silence answered, the serene atmosphere absorbing his impatience. He leaned back, letting his line drift. The fishing boat rocked gently with the light caress of the waves. The sun felt warmer now, almost heavy against his skin. With a slow exhale, he closed his eyes, surrendering the moment to the peacefulness that enveloped him. As he drifted in and out of burlier thoughts, he began to take in the sounds around him, the soft splashes of fish breaking the surface in the distance, the honks of the gulls, and the ever-present lull of the water's embrace. Each sound wrapped around him like a soothing lullaby, weaving into a melody only nature could compose. Time passed in a gentle flow, and soon Ivar felt the need for a break from fishing. He pulled in his line and grabbed a small tin from his satchel, filled with a simple meal of bread and cheese. Sitting comfortably on the edge of the boat, he took a moment to appreciate his surroundings. The boathouse stood proudly behind him, its rustic charm blending perfectly with the natural beauty of the cove, its weathered timbers telling stories of countless summers. Ivar took a bite of the bread, the fresh crust crackling between his teeth. As he chewed, he gazed at the shimmering surface of the water, where the sun danced playfully, producing flecks of gold that scattered around like fairy dust. Suddenly, his eyes caught a shadow beneath the water again, darting through the depths swift, fluid, and almost too quick to perceive. "Come back," he murmured, feeling the pull of curiosity chase after the fleeting figure. He set his meal aside, washed his hands in the cool sea, and prepared to cast his line again. This time, the hope in his chest felt more pronounced. What if today was the day? Each cast of the line felt like a message sent to the depths below, a soft urging for the creature to show itself once more. The afternoon began to drift, the sun starting its journey toward the horizon. Ivar remained dedicated to his fishing, keeping a watchful eye on the surface of the water. He would pause intermittently, listening closely, sometimes catching a distant sound of splashes or echoes of laughter carried along the breeze, possibly from children playing on the shoreline nearby. As the sun inched lower, painting the sky in hues of gold and orange, Ivar finally felt a tug at his line. His heart raced, excitement bubbling within him as he instinctively began to reel in. The resistance felt strong, and he braced himself, the line stretching taut as he pulled. With care, he eased his grip, feeling the weight on the other end shift. Just as he began to anticipate what might emerge of fish, perhaps there was a sudden burst beneath the surface, making the water erupt into a flurry of foam and sparkle. He gasped, squinting against the light, and for a fleeting moment he thought he saw the familiar glimmer of silver. But as quickly as it had appeared, the creature dove again, escaping the hook with a flick of its tail, leaving Ivar staring, mouth agape, at the rippling consequences of its splash. The face where magic had almost touched him now lay still, calm, yet charged with energy. Disappointment washed through him brief but sharp until it melted away, replaced by an insatiable curiosity. This creature was evading him, playing a game that neither of them had yet defined. Today's encounter deepened his resolve to understand it, whatever it may be. As twilight approached, the colors of the sky deepening into soft purples and deep blues, Ivar decided to row closer to the rocky ledge that bordered the cove. The sun was beginning to dip, casting long shadows from the boathouse and trees that twisted along the shoreline. He maneuvered the boat toward the gentle rise of the land, hoping to catch a clearer glimpse of the underwater world beneath him. The water remained calm, the surface reflecting shades of the dusk sky, and as he peered into the depths, he thought he saw movement again. He paused, closing his eyes for a moment, drawing in a deep breath as he focused. There was something inviting in the deeper blue, a promise yet unexplored. The boat drifted lazily against the buoyancy of the tide, and Ivar felt an unusual thrill course through him, something akin to anticipation mixed with wonder. He remained still, waiting, hoping for that moment of unveiling. With the sun's descent, the world grew quiet around him, the melody of evening settling softly into the air. As the stars began to wink down from the sky, casting a gentle glow, he heard a sound, a soft ripple that seemed different from the rest. His heart raced with hope as he leaned over the side once more. There, right by the surface, was the silver sheen he had come to recognize. With caution, Ivar lowered himself closer to the water's edge. The creature surfaced slowly, its glistening body reflecting the last light of day, and for the first time it seemed to hold Ivar's gaze. Those intelligent eyes sparkled with recognition, and somehow he felt a connection deeper than words, as though they shared a silent understanding. "I've been waiting," he said quietly, feeling the weight of his words settle into the space between them. The creature tilted its head, its movements slow and deliberate, as though considering his presence. The whispered moments stretched, and in that silence Ever felt a swell of gratitude, a deep appreciation for encountering this being, for their shared existence in this fleeting moment. Here, on the edge of the water, under the gathering night, he realized that this meeting held more than mere curiosity. It was an awakening of a kind. The sun's final embers slipped beneath the horizon, leaving behind a curtain of stars that began to twinkle brightly above. The waters grew darker, but the creature remained, its presence illuminating the surrounding depths with a soft bioluminescence. Ever watched, entranced, as it glided beneath him with ease, weaving patterns through the water as though performing an unspoken dance only they could share. He felt his heart swell with wonder as twilight seeped into night, drawing the world into its gentle embrace. Calm filled him as he absorbed the beauty of this connection, the mysteries that the ocean held, and the friendships that blossomed in the quiet shadows. Even as night deepened, he remained beside the water, breathing in the coolness of the evening air, believing that anything was possible under the watch of the stars. The creature danced below, and for Ivar, the magic of the moment wrapped around him, tethering him to the secrets of the sea, urging him to stay just a little longer amidst the whispers of the night. As twilight settled into the embrace of night, Ivar felt time stretch around him, each moment infused with a stillness that was both profound and comforting. The surface of the water shimmered with the reflections of the stars above, creating a canvas of light that danced in rhythm with the gentle lapping of the waves against his boat. He glanced around the small cove, the rocky ledges standing guard like ancient sentinels, and breathed in the salty air, rich with the promise of secrets. The creature, still nearby, glided gracefully beneath the water, its bioluminescent glow flickering like a heartbeat, and Ivar felt an unyielding pull towards it. He found himself captivated by its presence, eager to learn more, to understand the language of the ocean and the depths of its inhabitant soul. As he settled back into his boat, he let his mind wander, crafting stories of underwater realms where such beings convene, weaving their history into the soft hum of the sea. With a thoughtful gaze fixed on the water, Ever reached for the small fishing rod resting by his side. He had intended to catch a meal this evening, but the thrill of connection with the creature had eclipsed any earthly hunger he felt. Instead, he cast the line gently into the water, the bait barely rippling the surface, more as an offering to the depths than a pursuit of fish. The line hung still in the calm, a thread binding him to the creature below. As the minutes slipped by, the surrounding sounds transformed into a symphony of the night, the distant call of the night heron, the rustle of leaves from nearby trees, and the rhythmic lull of the waves folding against the shore. Time became an abstraction as Ivar lost himself in the connection he felt growing between him and the ocean. Suddenly, the creature surfaced again, this time closer to the boat. Ivar's heart quickened as he locked eyes with it, a mirror of shimmering silver and ethereal light. For a moment, the world around him faded, and in that shared gaze lay a depth of understanding that spoke to his spirit. It was as though they were sharing unspoken truths of loneliness, longing, and the beauty of existence. "I don't want this moment to end," he murmured, realizing how deeply he yearned to know more about the being that had so profoundly impacted him. The creature tilted its head, as though it understood his words, and slowly submerged back into the depths, leaving a gentle trail of sparkling light in its wake. Evar leaned over the side of the boat, straining to catch another glimpse. The water bubbled quietly, swirling with life beneath the surface, and he felt a mixture of longing and tranquility. It was a dance of shadows and light, a reminder that the mysteries of the sea were vast and ungraspable yet undeniably alluring. As night deepened, the stars above twinkled brighter, their light filtering down like a silken veil across the waters. Ever let go of his line, the rod resting beside him as he sat in peace, letting the evening envelop him. He closed his eyes for a moment, imagining the underwater world that stretched below coral gardens, schools of fish starting in unison, and the creature weaving through it all, a guardian of the hidden wonders. The soft sounds of the water lulled him into a gentle reverie, where dreams began to blend with reality. He thought of the stories he'd heard in town, tales of sailors and mermaids, of lost ships and treasures hidden beneath the waves. But tonight, none of those legends held his attention. Instead, he felt a bond, deep and sincere, with this creature who seemed to beckon him closer to the heart of the ocean. The moment stretched into an eternity, each second rich with possibility. Evar opened his eyes again, the soft glow of the creature returning as it rose gracefully to the surface, circling the boat with slow, deliberate movements. He was awestruck by its beauty, the way it danced effortlessly through the water, leaving traces of shimmering light that flickered and faded, as though painted by an artist inspired by the moonlight. "I want to follow you," he whispered, wondering if the creature could hear him, sensing the depth of his longing. The creature paused, its gaze steady upon him, and for a heartbeat, it felt as though they were sharing a silent agreement. It then dove beneath the surface, the glow trailing behind it like a comet, urging him to follow. Evar's heart raced with excitement. He leaned back over the edge of the boat, his fingers grazing the cool water, feeling the gentle current tugging at him. Would the creature lead him to the wonders hidden beneath? With an adventurous spirit ignited, he slowly maneuvered the boat in the direction the creature had gone, gliding over the smooth surface as he kept his eyes peeled for where it might reemerge. The night wrapped around him, a cloak of serenity and anticipation, the stars gleaming like watchful eyes, encouraging his quest. Ever followed the glowing trail, feeling the warmth of the night air against his skin, the world around him quiet and still, save for the distant calls of night creatures. He moved further into the cove, the water deepening, and the atmosphere thickening with mystery. The creature surfaced again, this time a little further away, flickering its bioluminescent light in a playful manner. Ivar could hardly contain his laughter, the joy bubbling within him as he grasped the oars, propelling himself forward with purpose. Around him, the coastal landscape loomed like a dream, the silhouettes of the rocks against the night sky framing his journey. He could feel the pull of the tide, gentle and rhythmic, guiding him onward, deeper into this enchanting world. As he paddled, the creature swam in lazy circles around him, offering encouragement, inviting him to explore further. Everard's breath quickened with awe as he ventured closer to an underwater outcropping, where he imagined vibrant corals thriving in the hidden light of the ocean world below. The anticipation filled him, a sweet tension thrumming through his veins, urging him to keep moving. The hours passed unnoticed as he navigated through the cove, captivated by the dance of light and shadow in the water. The creature seemed to be leading him towards a hidden sanctuary, a realm where time lost its significance and adventure awaited. Finally, Ever found himself at the mouth of a secluded inlet, sheltered by rock formations that jutted out like ancient guardians. The water here shimmered with an intense glow, illuminated by the creature as it darted playfully around a cluster of rocks. He felt a feeling of being on the brink of discovery, as though the heart of the ocean was about to reveal its treasures. With a deep breath, he guided the boat further into the calm waters of the inlet. The walls of rock rose steeply on either side, creating an intimate cocoon that felt safe and inviting. The gentle lapping of the waves against the boat became a soothing melody, and with the creature's playful lights dancing around him, Ever couldn't help but smile. "I can feel it," he murmured softly. "There's something special here." The creature surfaced once more, now directly beside the boat, its large eyes meeting Ivar's with an understanding that made his heart swell. It moved close to the surface, and for a moment he could see the pattern swirling across its skin intricate. mesmerizing, like the whirl of the galaxies above. With a nudge of its nose against the boat, the creature seemed to beckon him to look deeper, to plunge into the depths that it called home. Ever hesitated briefly, the coolness of the water tempting him, but soon a feeling of calm washed over him. He knew he had come far, that this connection with the creature was not accidental, but rather an invitation into a new understanding of the world. With courage bubbling within him, Ivar leaned over the edge of the boat. He felt the coolness of the water cascading over his fingertips, embracing him with an alluring pull. He dipped his hand into the depths, stirring the tranquil surface, and watched ripples dance away, merging with the projections of light glimmering below. With each moment, he felt more connected to the rhythm of the ocean, and slowly he allowed the thought of diving into the water to take root in his mind. What awaited him beneath the surface? Would the secrets of the deep be revealed? Ivar took a deep breath. The warmth of the night wrapped around him like a reassuring embrace as he made his decision. He could dive into that shimmering world, trusting the creature to guide him, trusting the tide to keep him safe. He released the side of the boat and let the water cradle his body as he prepared to slip below the surface. With one final glance at the glowing creature, he plunged into the depths, the cool water enveloping him. He kicked his legs and propelled himself downward, the world above fading away, replaced by the dazzling spectacle of bioluminescence that surrounded him. The creature danced beside him as Ivar took in the beauty of this underwater kingdom, where colors bloomed like flowers in the sunlight. His heart raced with excitement and wonder, for within the embrace of the ocean, he felt an exhilarating sense of belonging. The gentle currents wrapped around him, and the creature moved easily through the water, guiding him into a world alive with vibrant life. In this moment, beneath the vast canopy of stars, Ivar found himself not just as an observer but as a participant in the grand tapestry of life below the waves. He realized that the ocean's mysteries were not to be feared, but celebrated, and he was grateful for every moment shared with the being that had drawn him so deeply into its world. As he swam further, Ivar could feel the bond deepening, a connection that would last far beyond the single night. The waters held many secrets, but each discovery was a part of something much larger, and he was ready to embrace it all, the magic of the ocean holding him close as they explored together under the starlit sky. The current wrapped around Ivar like a soft scarf as he dove deeper into the watery expanse. The creature glided ahead, a beacon of luminescence against the shadows of the ocean. Mesmerized, Ivar found himself mirroring its movements, adapting to the water's gentle pull, feeling weightless and free. Beneath him, a coral garden sprawled, adorned with intricate formations that rose like delicate sculptures. Colors danced in shades of purple, red, and gold. Tiny fish flitted in and out of the crevices, their scales catching the glow of the creature, creating sparks that flickered like stars scattered on the ocean floor. Ever reached out, fingertips brushing against the textured coral, feeling its coolness beneath his touch. It was a tapestry of life, thriving in the darkness, and he felt an overwhelming admiration for the resilience surrounding him. The creature paused, glancing back at Ever with its luminous eyes, inviting him to explore further. In response, he swam toward a rocky overhang where a gentle school of shimmering fish had gathered. Curious, they darted forward, their movements harmonizing with the rhythm of the currents. Ever couldn't help but smile, his heart swelling with joy at the sight. This was not merely an exploration, but a heartfelt communion with nature. As he moved on, the depths began to take on a new life. The water around him shifted, growing cooler, and Ever noticed clusters of seaweed swaying gracefully like dancers in slow motion. The gentle ebb and flow made him feel alive, a part of something much larger than himself. He reached out, his fingers gliding through the fronds, feeling their softness and resilience. An unexpected sound broke through the tranquil silence, a low, melodious humming echoing through the water. Ever paused. His curiosity piqued the creature seemed to respond, then glided toward the source of the sound. Ever followed, intrigued, wondering if the ocean held more mysteries that he had yet to understand. In a small clearing, illuminated by patches of bioluminescent algae, he discovered an underwater grotto. The walls glistened with minerals, casting shimmering reflections that danced across the water, illuminating the space in hues of blue and green. As he entered, the humming grew louder, harmonizing beautifully with the movement of the water. There, at the heart of the secluded haven, he saw large, gentle creatures moving rhythmically in the currents. They resembled oversized sea turtles, their shells decorated like ancient maps. These serene wonders glided through the water, producing the melodic sounds that resonated throughout the grotto. Ivar felt a tranquil energy enveloping him, allowing him to breathe a little deeper and relax a little more. The glowing creature he had followed swam around the turtles, spiraling in a dance that echoed the gentle sway of the ocean. Ivar watched in awe, enchanted by the scene unfolding before him. Not just a mere spectator, he instinctively felt a call to join in, to create his own melody. With every gentle flick of his legs, he swayed to the harmony of the sea, embodying the rhythm of this underwater sanctuary. Time seemed to slow as he lost himself in the moment. Each breath he took was laced with a feeling of tranquility, and he could feel the worries and noise of his life above the surface dissolving away. He was not just Ivar, the fisherman, but Ivar, a participant in a grand performance orchestrated by the ocean itself. As he swam along, the turtles drew nearer, their large eyes holding a depth of knowing that resonated with him. They seemed to recognize his presence, inviting him into their world without words but through gestures as soft as the water around them. Ivar felt as though he had crossed a threshold into sacred ground, a place where kindness and wisdom intermingled, a refuge where he could simply be. The grotto's walls appeared to pulse with life, and the melodic humming became a conversation of sorts, weaving in and out of Ivar's thoughts. He began to hum back, a simple tune carried on the bubbles that escaped his lips. The turtles swayed closer, their movements mirroring the sound he created, as though they too wanted to join in this underwater choir. Moments turned into blissful minutes, and Ivar lost track of time as he immersed himself in this enchanting experience. The world above faded completely, no longer a concern or a thought. He was here, in the sanctuary, enveloped by the gentle rhythm of the ocean and the companionship of these magnificent sea creatures. But reality, as it often does, began to beckon him back. The coolness of the water, while soothing, also reminded him of the life waiting on the surface. With reluctance, Ever paused his gentle song and took a deep breath, his heart filling with gratitude for the moment he had experienced. He knew he could not remain here forever, and yet he felt reassured by the bond he had formed not only with the glowing creature but with the ocean itself. Slowly, he turned, glancing back toward the entrance of the grotto. The creature awaited him, its glow pulsing softly as though in encouragement. He offered a final farewell to the turtles, who gracefully drifted back into the depths of the sanctuary, their hum fading into the distance. As Ivar swam back, guided by the creature's light, he took in all the beauty around him one last time. The coral garden seemed to shimmer brighter, and the fish danced in playful swirls as though bidding him farewell. He felt a connection to this world, a memory etched deeply within his heart, a promise made to return. Emerging from the depths, Ivar broke through the cool surface into the night air. The stars twinkled above, their reflections cascading across the water like scattered diamonds. The boat still floated gently nearby, a silent witness to his journey. Ivar took a moment to tread water, allowing the peacefulness of the ocean to wash over him once more. Climbing onto the boat, he lay back against the cool wood, staring up at the vastness above. The gentle lap of the waves against the hull and the distant calls of seabirds filled the night, soothing him into a state of tranquility. The glow of the creature lingered just below the surface, a fading light that promised he would not forget. It was not merely a single adventure, but a connection forged in the depths of the ocean, a thread woven into the fabric of his being. With every breath, you reflected on the beauty of the experience, the lessons learned beneath the waves, and the friendships that stretched beyond the surface. As night deepened, Ivar closed his eyes, feeling a calmness settle around him. The world above and below had merged into a beautiful dreamscape, where time flowed differently and the ocean held him close. The soothing sounds of the sea cradled him into a peaceful sleep, drifting into the embrace of the night, knowing that tomorrow would bring its own adventures whether above or below. He would always carry the ocean within him. After midnight, Even the stars seemed to dim their harsh glow, painting the sky with softer shades. Ivar surrendered fully to slumber, the gentle rocking of the boat becoming a lullaby, cradling him in an everlasting dance where the ocean's mystery surged softly in his dreams. In this serene world, Ivar felt at home, eternally connected to the secrets of the sea, a wonder forever intertwined with its wonders. The silence of the night wrapped around the boathouse like a soft blanket, the world outside cloaked in shadows illuminated only by the shimmer of moonlight upon the water. After midnight, the air was refreshingly cool, as though holding its breath, waiting for something to unfold. Ever remained in a deep, peaceful sleep, dreams weaving through images of the ocean, the glowing creature, and the graceful turtles that had shared their song with him. As the hours slipped by, the soft lapping of waves continued to play a gentle rhythm, echoing through the stillness. Eventually, the first hints of dawn began to stir, though no one could tell yet. A faint light emerged on the horizon, teasing the edges of the darkness. It was during this almost magical transition that Ivar shifted in his sleep, feeling an urge to awaken. The light continued to grow, unfurling slowly like a flower opening to greet the day. Ivar stirred, feeling the cool wood beneath him as he blinked open his eyes, greeted by the pastel hues painting the sky. He took a moment, breathing deeply, inhaling the crisp air that tasted of salt and promise. He sat up, feeling the gentle sway of the boat beneath him. The echoes of the night still lingered in the background, the memories of the sea felt bright and alive in his mind. As he prepared to start the day, he stretched, limbs heavy with relaxation yet stirred by anticipation. The glimmering water mirrored the sky, signaling a day filled with potential. After a few moments, Ivar's curiosity tugged at him, propelling him to lean over the edge of the boat. The water sparkled invitingly, its surface broken only by the occasional ripple from a fish breaking through. For a heartbeat, he was reminded of the glowing creature beneath the waves, that gentle guide he had followed through the grotto. Ivar reached for his small fishing net, which rested against the side of the boat, and with a newfound sense of wonder, he dipped it into the cool water. He made slow, deliberate movements, not wanting to disturb the peace of the morning or scare away any lurking fish. It was a soothing ritual, the act of fishing serving as a bridge between his encounters with the ocean's depths and the quiet of the world above. As the sun gradually ascended, painting everything in warmer tones, Ivar became aware of the sounds surrounding him. Birds began to stir, chirping in the distance, harmonizing with the occasional flutter of wings breaking through the calm. The air was filled with a heady scent of the sea, mixed with the subtle earthliness of the nearby shore. He worked patiently, allowing the rhythm of the day to guide him. The fishing net glided through the water, weaving a path where fish danced playfully, unbothered by his presence. Each moment felt like a continuation of the night before, as though the ocean's secrets were revealing themselves bit by bit. Time slipped quietly into the afternoon, and Ivar had settled into a comforting routine. He had caught enough to prepare a delightful meal, and a feeling of satisfaction washed over him as he returned to the boathouse. With his catch nestled safely in a wooden bucket, he climbed ashore, the soft sand yielding beneath his feet. The boathouse stood modestly, its weathered wood telling tales of countless days spent in the embrace of nature. Ever moved towards it, letting the gentle breeze tousle his hair as he approached the small kitchenette. He took a moment to admire the view, the water stretching endlessly before him, shimmering under the sun's warm gaze. With careful hands, Evar set to work, cleaning the fish he had caught. The task was both simple and grounding, connecting him with the very essence of his surroundings. Each motion, each slice of the knife, echoed with the rhythms of the sea, reminding him of the life teeming just below the surface. As the sun ascended higher, casting long shadows around the boathouse, Ever lit a small fire outside, the flames flickering cheerfully against the bright sky. The scent of fish grilling began to mingle with the salty air, twining together in a way that felt like home. He watched the fish sizzle, enjoying the way the heat danced around him, a fragrant promise of sustenance. Sitting on a weathered log nearby, he let his gaze wander once more over the horizon. There was a certain stillness to the ocean at that time, a promise of the mystery still waiting to be unraveled. He thought of the glowing creature, and the connection they had shared, he could still feel the warmth of that bond lingering in his chest. Time drifted lazily toward dusk, the sun beginning to dip lower in the sky, turning everything golden. Ever savored each bite of his meal, the flavors rich and satisfying, grounding him firm in the moment. He could hear the waves lapping gently against the boathouse, a soothing rhythm that seemed to harmonize with his heartbeat. After the meal, Evar took a moment to enjoy the aftermath of his day. He leaned back against the log, allowing the cool evening air to wrap around him. The gentle breeze was a caress, soothing after the warmth of the sun. Shadows lengthened, the sunlight dimming slowly, and he felt the first inklings of night approaching. With the day winding down, Evar decided to tidy up his area. He placed the wooden bucket aside, ensuring it sat safely where it wouldn't tumble. In the embrace of the boathouse, he tended to the fire, adding a few more twigs and watching as the flames rose higher, casting a warm glow against the approaching darkness. As the last of the sun dipped below the horizon, the stars began to awaken, twinkling softly in the vastness above. Evar's heart felt lighter, filled with a feeling of belonging. He knew this was where he was meant to be, a part of the rhythm of the ocean. He reached for his fishing net once more, drawn to the water as the twilight deepened. The evening was painted in purples and blues, the surface of the water reflecting the colors of the sky like a living canvas. Ever slipped his net into the gentle waves, creating a delicate disturbance, the water sparkling in response. In those quiet moments, he found himself lost in thought, pondering the events of the past few days. The ocean had shown him wonders far beyond anything he had imagined, connections that transcended language and lifted the spirit. Each encounter beneath the waves was a thread woven into the fabric of his life, and he treasured them deeply. The sounds of the waves, the soft rustle of leaves in the wind, and the distant calls of night birds formed a symphony that underscored his solitude. Ever felt a feeling of comfort in the stillness, reveling in the peace that enveloped him as he lost himself in the depths of the water, dipping the net with a practiced grace. A light mist began to roll in from the sea, softening the outlines of the trees along the shore. The world felt both mysterious and inviting, a reminding of the secrets that lay just out of sight. As night fully descended, it wrapped around Ivar like a guardian cloak, watching over him as he immersed himself deeper into the calming embrace of nature. The glowing creature from his dreams remained fresh in his mind. He closed his eyes briefly, picturing its luminous form gliding effortlessly through the water, guiding him to places unknown. Ivar sensed that this would not be the end of their connection. Rather, it was a promise of more adventures ahead. After a time, he pulled the net back from the water, a small catch fluttering within. Ivar glanced out toward the open ocean, where the night sky met the water in an infinite embrace. Here, under this vast blanket of stars, he felt at peace. Every moment spent with the sea was a moment cherished, an adventure waiting to unfold. As midnight approached, Ever stowed his net away, feeling the call of sleep lacing through him once more. He made his way back to the boathouse, the traces of warmth from the fire diminishing as he settled down against the wooden floor. With thoughts of the glowing creature, the turtles, and all he had experienced, he let the calmness of the night lull him to rest. The world outside faded into a comforting silence, and the melody of the waves resumed its gentle song. Ever closed his eyes, drifting deeper into a place where dreams flourished and the mysteries of the ocean awaited his return, finding satisfaction in the simple tasks of gathering things together and securing the boathouse for the evening. The sun hung low, casting a warm golden hue across the water, flickering gently like the dance of fireflies in the fading light. Ever paused, taking a moment to appreciate the beauty of his surroundings, the calmness enhanced by the gentle rustle of trees swaying in the evening breeze. The air, laden with the scent of salt and smoke, wrapped around him like the comforting embrace of an old friend. He took a deep breath, filling his lungs with the cool air, pondering the day's catch and the lessons learned beneath the waves. The early evening settled into a peaceful quiet, and as he prepared to make a small boat outing, he noticed the horizon taking on a deeper shade of lavender. With a feeling of adventure, he pushed the small boat away from the dock, the gentle movement rippling the water behind him like lace unfurling in the wind. The oars dipped steadily into the water, each stroke sending small waves dancing off into the expanse. Ever ventured further from the shore, where the haunting beauty of the ocean seemed to call to him, inviting him to explore its hidden treasures. As twilight deepened, he felt an instinctual pull, something urging him to keep rowing until the light turned to dark. He felt a connection to the water, every dip of the oar resonating with something deep within him. Ever glanced down into the depths, watching shadows swirl beneath as the last remnants of sunlight slipped away. He thought of the glowing creature from his dreams, and wondered if perhaps it too was out there, gliding through the water, in search of companionship or adventure. As the sky darkened into a deep indigo, Ever leaned back in his boat, feeling the stillness settle around him. The stars began to appear, twinkling like scattered gems. A soft breeze ruffled the surface of the water, creating small ripples that shimmered under the celestial display. He let his mind drift, imagining the life that thrived under the waves, unseen yet ever present, and he felt a profound sense of respect for the mysteries hidden below. After some time, he turned back toward the shore, the journey feeling complete. The night was alive with the chirping of crickets and the distant call of an owl, wrapping around him as he made his way home. The boathouse, now nestled under a canopy of stars, welcomed him back like a faithful guardian. Once ashore, he noticed the fire had smoldered down to warm embers, casting a soft glow. The world felt both familiar and enchanting, the calmness offering a feeling of solitude that Ever cherished. He settled on the old wooden steps outside the boathouse, watching as the stars twinkled above, weaving stories in the sky. As he sat there, he allowed his thoughts to drift like the clouds moving across the moon, pondering the connections he felt with the sea and its creatures. Each moment, each memory, stitched itself firmly into the fabric of his existence. Ever sipped from a small wooden cup of fresh water, feeling its coolness slide down his throat, a gentle reminder of the simplicity and beauty that surrounded him. Night deepened, and the stars shone brighter, their light flickering like the fireflies that danced around the garden earlier in the day. As he sat there, Ever closed his eyes for a moment, recalling the vivid images that had filled his dreams the night before. He imagined the luminescent creature, its colors shifting like the northern lights, gliding effortlessly through the ocean depths. It brought a smile to his face, this quiet companionship that seemed to transcend time and space. Gradually, the whisper of sleep began to tug at him, urging him to rest beneath the vast expanse of the sky. Ever rose slowly, moving back inside the boathouse. He took a moment to close his eyes, truly grateful for the day he had experienced. The smell of the ocean lingered in the air, wrapping around him as he settled back into his makeshift bed. He found comfort in the familiar creaks of the wooden structure that had sheltered him, safe from the outside world. The rhythmic sound of the waves lapping at the shore filled the silence, weaving a calming lullaby that coaxed him deeper into slumber. As he drifted off, Ivar's thoughts danced between the folds of reality and dreams, where the mystery of the ocean thrived. The embrace of sleep urged him to discover more, to dive ever deeper into those hidden realms, and to wait patiently for the next adventure to unfold. In the moments that passed, he felt the world around him dissolve, replaced by the vibrant glow of the ocean's depths. Here, in the heart of the night, Ever dreamt of shimmering light and the playful grace of the turtles that had crossed his path, their laughter echoing through the vast ocean. Time slipped by imperceptibly, and the stars sequined the heavens overhead as he let go of the day's journey, surrendering to the peace of night. The mysteries of the ocean awaited with open arms, ready to reveal their secrets, cradled safely within the dreams of a man who cherished every moment spent upon the waves. And as the hour grew late, the gentle melody of the sea cradled Ever in its embrace, the harmony of nature a lullaby of the night. The world outside faded into a soft blur, and all that remained was the promise of dawn to come each new day a chance for adventure and discovery and new ease, placing remnants of his meal in a small crate nearby, where the crabs would soon revel in the leftovers. With the sun painting the sky with hues of orange and lavender, Ever took a moment to sit by the water's edge, the gentle waves lapping at his feet. The world around him was quietly alive, the soft rustle of leaves and the distant calls of seabirds creating a peaceful symphony. He listened closely, finding solace in the rhythms of nature, memories of the ocean's depth still vivid in his mind. It was a perfect evening, with the horizon stretching out infinitely before him, cradling secrets and stories yet untold. A light breeze mingled with the scents of the ocean and forest, bringing with it a feeling of possibility. Ever's thoughts drifted, wrapping around the shimmering creature from his dreams, its vivid colors a tapestry woven from sunlight and ocean mysteries. He wondered if it truly existed beneath the waves, or if it was merely a figment of his imagination, a creation born of his yearning for connection with the sea. As dusk descended, the sky transformed into a deepening canvas of navy, punctuated by the first stars twinkling above. Ever rose to his feet, the sand cool against his bare skin, and made his way back to the boathouse, a feeling of contentment filling his heart. He settled into a cozy nook beside the fire he had built, the flames crackling gently, casting flickering shadows on the wooden walls. The night deepened, and while the stars twinkled overhead, Ever allowed himself to ponder the events of the day. Each moment felt rich and full, the simplicity of his surroundings giving him the space to reflect on his dreams and the mysteries of the ocean. As the fire hissed and popped, he pulled out his journal, where he had begun collecting his thoughts, observations, and sketches of the creatures that inhabited the waters. The soft scratch of his pencil was the only sound that accompanied him as he wrote, capturing the essence of his day, the calm fishing trip, the flavors of his meal, and the way the light danced on the waves as night approached. He sketched the outlines of the creatures that had visited him in dreams, their forms fluid and graceful, much like the ocean itself. As the night wore on, a familiar feeling washed over him, an anticipation that seemed to ripple through the air. Evar found himself drawn to the water once again, the moon hanging low and heavy, casting a silver path that stretched across the sea. He stepped outside, the coolness wrapping around him like a gentle touch. The surface of the water shimmered, and he paused to gaze at the reflections. The horizon was a deep slate blue, merging with the starlit sky. Evar felt as though he were standing at the edge of two worlds, the one he inhabited and the one that lay hidden beneath the waves. His heart fluttered with the thrill of imagination, and he began to wade into the shallow waters, the coolness enveloping his legs. He stood still, allowing the rhythm of the waves to guide him deeper into thought. Each gentle pull of the tide seemed to whisper secrets of the deep, coaxing him to listen closely to the stories concealed below. As he gazed into the depths, a silvery flash caught his eye just beneath the surface. For a moment he held his breath, intrigued, and then, as though compelled by a magnetic force, he dipped his head under the water. The cool liquid embraced him, and he opened his eyes, revealing a world painted in shades of blue and green. Small fish darted around him, their scales glistening like jewels, while the delicate sea grasses waved gently, creating a rustling ballet in the current. Ever floated there, completely suspended between two worlds, feeling the pulse of the ocean echoing through him. Once more, he thought of the creature from his dreams, the luminescent being. Where was it now? He longed to see it, to experience the beauty that had beckoned him in his sleep. With a faint sense of purpose, he swam further into the cove, feeling both exhilarated and calm. Time slipped by unnoticed as he explored this undersea landscape, marveling at the life that thrived in the shadows. He reached out, gently touching the textured surface of the coral formation, its colors vibrant and shifting like the dreams that danced in his mind. As the moon began its ascent to the apex of the sky, Ever felt a pull, like a whisper, leading him deeper still. He noticed a faint glow in the distance, flickering amidst the darkness, akin to the flame of his fire back at the boathouse. Heart racing, he swam toward it, guided by curiosity and wonder. As he drew nearer, the glow intensified, revealing the shape of a large object nestled among the rocks. It was a piece of driftwood, smooth and worn by the tides, illuminated from beneath by a soft azure light. Evar sensed a connection to it, an unspoken invitation to discover what lay hidden within the depths. He reached out, gently brushing his hand against the wood, feeling a ripple of energy pass through him. In that moment, he was not alone. He felt a presence, as though the spirit of the ocean had enveloped him in a gentle embrace. The light pulsed softly, resonating with his heartbeat, and for an instant, visions flooded into his mind, images of turtles gliding gracefully, schools of fish dancing in formation, and the ethereal creature that had danced through his dreams. The ocean was alive, vibrant with stories waiting to be shared, and he was a part of it. Breathless, Ever pulled away, his heart fluttering with awe. He realized the ocean held secrets, not just within its waters, but deep in the very essence of life surrounding him. Time seemed to lose its meaning, and he floated there a moment longer, lost in reverie, before the coolness of the water drew him back to the surface. Breaking free from the depths, Ever gasped for air, the night wrapping around him like a cloak. The glow from the driftwood faded into the darkness, its secrets returned to the hidden world below. He swam back toward the shore, each stroke filled with purpose and understanding. Pulling himself onto the sandy beach, he paused to catch his breath, the cool air seeping into his skin. The stars glittered above, and Ivar felt the weight of the ocean's mysteries within him. It was a tranquil, affirming presence that reminded him of the oneness of all living things. He returned to the boathouse, moving with purpose, thoughts swirling like the gentle tide. The fire had burned low, embers glowing warmly, inviting him back into the cozy refuge. As he settled into his nook, he placed his journal beside him and reflected on the evening's discoveries. With the waves serenading him softly, Ever wrote down his experience, each word infused with the wonder he'd felt beneath the sea. The depth of the ocean, much like the depth of his heart, held treasures yet to be revealed, and he was grateful for the chance to explore them. His eyelids grew heavy, the peaceful rhythm of the night cradling him as he drafted sketches of his ethereal encounters. The glow of the previous moments lingered in his chest, filling him with warmth as the flickering firelight dimmed further. Ever closed his eyes, surrendering to the embrace of the night, the gentle sound of the waves singing him into the realm of dreams once more. As he drifted off, he felt at ease with the ocean's secrets, the vibrant life, and the quiet mysteries waiting to unfold. And so the night deepened around the boathouse, holding the echoes of laughter and the soft calls of the sea, cradling a man and his dreams beneath the watchful eyes of countless stars. In this moment, Ivar's heart felt full, and the ocean's embrace filled him with wonder as he too became part of the great unknown, gliding peacefully into the dreams that awaited him beneath the luminous waves' awnings, ensuring the boathouse remained a sanctuary against the encroaching darkness. As dusk settled in, Ever gathered some driftwood and placed it near the fire, preparing for a longer evening ahead. The world around him transformed under the deepening hues of twilight. The sky gradually shifted from blue to a rich, dusky purple, while the last rays of sun dipped below the horizon, casting a serene glow across the waters. Ever took a moment to savor the beauty of it all, drinking in the peace of the coastal landscape as the wind played softly with the leaves of nearby trees. With the crackling fire as his companion, he settled down into his nook, pulling out his journal once more. He opened to a fresh page, feeling inspired by the day's adventures and the quietude enveloping him. The sound of the waves became a backdrop to his thoughts as he began to write, letting the ink flow like the tide. Words formed seamlessly, capturing his reflections on the ocean, the connection he felt with every creature that inhabited its depths, and the gentle harmony of nature that surrounded him. He detailed the colors of the underwater world, the vibrant hues that danced with life, and the calming rhythm that echoed through his heart. Thoughts flowed softly, reminiscent of the waves lapping against the boathouse, each sentence a heartbeat in the tranquil ebb and flow of the night. As the fire danced with a warm glow, Ever paused to look outside. The sky had transitioned to a deeper navy blue, the stars twinkling above as though participating in a secret conversation. His gaze drifted towards the water, where the moonlight created shimmering pathways that stretched across the surface. The night felt alive, full of possibilities and hidden wonders. Ever put his journal aside, deciding to take a moment to listen to the night. He stepped out of the boathouse, his bare feet sinking into the cool, damp sand. The ocean breeze greeted him with a gentle caress, and he closed his eyes, allowing the sounds of the night to wash over him. The rhythmic crashing of the waves, the distant call of an occasional seabird, and the soft rustle of leaves formed a symphony that resonated deeply within him. A sense of stillness enveloped the evening, and Ivar felt a connection to the space around him. He took a few steps toward the water, staring at the horizon where sky met sea, pondering the mysteries still hidden beneath the surface. The moon cast a silvery light, revealing rippling currents that sparkled as though they carried secrets waiting to be shared. As he stood there, lost in thought, he recalled the glowing creature he had encountered earlier, its ethereal presence lodging itself firmly in his memory. What other wonders lay beneath the waves? What stories were waiting for him to uncover? With renewed curiosity, he returned to the boathouse, his heart light with excitement for the explorations that lay ahead. He collected a small lantern and a thin rope, preparing for another evening venture out onto the water. The gentle night wrapped around him as he embarked on his small boat, the soft glow of the lantern illuminating his path. The boat floated smoothly as he pushed off, the familiar sounds of the water calming his thoughts. Ever guided the boat further out, the lantern casting warm light into the surrounding darkness, creating an inviting circle of light that felt safe amid the vastness of the sea. He rowed quietly, allowing the gentle current to guide him, as the stars above began to reflect on the water, twinkling back in return. In this peaceful solitude, Ever listened to the night. The gentle lapping of waves against the hull seemed to whisper secrets, tales of the ocean's deep heart. He closed his eyes for a moment, feeling the boat sway softly beneath him, an extension of the rhythm of the sea. When he opened his eyes again, he noticed the silhouette of the coastline in the distance. He had rowed far enough to lose sight of the boathouse, feeling assured by his surroundings, a feeling of adventure bubbling within him. Eager to explore further, he lifted the lantern a little higher, its light flickering against the backdrop of the night sky. Just then, he caught sight of something glimmering in the water ahead. Heart racing with anticipation, he maneuvered the boat closer, curiosity pulling him toward the mysterious glow. With every stroke of the oars, tiny ripples expanded outward, creating a delicate dance upon the water surface. As he drew nearer, he could see that the glow originated from an area where the waves lapped more energetically against the shore. Peering into the darkness, Ivar could just make out shapes beneath the water, moving gracefully through the depths. He felt a feeling of kinship with them, a shared understanding that there was so much more than what met the eye. His heart swelled with gratitude for this encounter, and he lowered the lantern closer to the water, illuminating the scene just enough to catch fleeting glimpses of silhouettes darting beneath the surface. The creatures were mesmerizing, swaying gently with the ocean's rhythm, their luminous bodies reflecting the lantern's light in a cascade of colors. Ever held his breath, captivated by their beauty. They seemed to be performing a delicate ballet, a dance of life hidden beneath the veil of the sea. With a flutter of hope and longing in his heart, he leaned over the side of the boat, wishing to connect with these glowing beings. He had a sudden urge to dive into the deep once more, to immerse himself in their world, to share in their dance. But he remained still, respecting the distance between their realm and his own, not wanting to disturb the balletic display unfolding before him. Time melted away as he remained there, enchanted by the beauty surrounding him. The ocean felt like a living canvas, painted with the soft strokes of the creature's movements, each flicker of light telling a story both ancient and new. Eventually, as the night deepened and the glow began to fade, Ivar pulled back, feeling the pull of the shore beckoning him. He reluctantly started to row back toward the boathouse, the ethereal connection still echoing within him. Each stroke felt heavier, a transition from the magic of the night to the imminent return to reality. As he reached the sandy beach, he anchored the boat and climbed out, his heart still aflame with the wonder of what he had seen. He knew he would return, that the ocean's mysteries were not just stories to be told, but experiences to be lived. The creatures below were part of a world that called to him, inviting him to explore deeper. Once back inside the boathouse, Ever pulled his journal from its resting place, eager to document the night's ethereal encounter. The flickering fire cast soft shadows on the wooden walls, creating an intimate space where his thoughts could flow freely. He wrote of the glowing creatures, the magic of the moment, each word wrapped in a feeling of awe and gratitude. As he finished writing, the fire crackled gently, and he felt a feeling of peace settle over him. The glowing creature stayed with him, alive within the pages of his journal, waiting for the next chapter to unfold. The night continued to deepen around him, the ocean outside whispering its lullabies, and Ever felt content as he lay down once more, thoughts drifting like the waves, ready to embrace the mysteries of dreams yet unseen. The boathouse stood resilient against the backdrop of the tranquil night, cradling the dreams and stories of a man who felt deeply connected to the world around him. As he closed his eyes, the sounds of the sea wrapped around him, a reminder that each day held a promise of discovery, a journey into the unknown, waiting to be explored surroundings, letting the warmth of satisfaction settle in his chest like the glowing embers of the fire. The evening's colors melted into one another as he turned to the water, watching as the horizon transformed into a canvas of oranges and purples, signaling the arrival of dusk. Ivar leaned back against the boathouse, the wood warm against his back, and allowed himself to soak in the beauty of the moment. Each ripple on the surface seemed to reflect the vastness of the sky, a gentle reminder of the interconnectedness of all things. As the sun descended, the tranquility deepened. The fire flickered, casting dancing shadows that flickered across his face. Ever took this time to ponder the glowing creatures he had encountered the previous night, his thoughts swirling like the smoke rising from the fire. There was a certain mystery about those lights, a promise of something more. He was eager to return to the water and see if the dance of the luminescent beings would repeat, guiding him once again to their realm. In that moment of reflection, he recalled how the ocean held stories that whispered through time, tales of sailors, dreams, and secrets held within the depths. With a gentle determination, he decided that tonight he would venture out once more to seek the glow that had captured his imagination. As the stars began to peek out from behind the fading light, Ever prepared his small boat once again, gathering the essentials: a lantern to guide his way, a blanket in case the chill crept in, and a few provisions for the night ahead. Each item felt like a guardian of his intentions, ready to accompany him into the unknown. The night fully enveloped the boathouse as he pushed off from the sandy shore. The water welcomed him, smooth and inviting, reflecting the twinkling stars above as though the night sky had descended into the depths. Ever rowed, each stroke of the oars a gentle reminder of his purpose, the rhythm harmonizing with the soft lapping of the waves against the wooden hull. As he glided further from shore, a hush settled around him, the only sounds being his breath and the soft splashes of his oars in the water. Memories of the previous night ignited a fire within him, a longing to reconnect with the creatures that had lit up the darkness. He felt a kinship with the ocean, a place where dreams and reality intertwined. After some time, he reached the spot where he had witnessed the glowing dance. The air felt electric, charged with anticipation. Ever paused, allowing silence to envelop him as he listened to the song of the sea. Minutes passed, yet they felt stretched, as though the night itself held its breath, waiting for something wondrous to reveal itself. And then faint flickers began to appear beneath the surface, delicate and fleeting. Everard's heart raced as the glow intensified, illuminating the water around him in ethereal waves. The creatures began their ballet, a harmonious choreography of light and movement that took his breath away. He felt like a witness to a sacred ceremony, each flicker narrating stories only the ocean could tell. There was something profoundly beautiful in their dance, a celebration of life that transcended form and understanding. Ever leaned over the side of the boat, captivated by the way the lights twirled and swirled beneath the waves, like stars brought to life in an ocean of dreams. The lantern on his boat cast a gentle glow over the water, illuminating the shapes of the shimmering beings as they moved closer, as though drawn by his presence. He didn't want to interrupt their rhythm, but he felt a gentle invitation to connect, to share in their world. Driven by the longing to immerse himself alongside them, Ever removed his shoes and carefully slipped into the cool water. The sensation was exhilarating, a contrast to the warmth of the air. He waited slowly, the surf gliding around him like a soft caress, and he submerged his body beneath the surface, feeling weightless, apart from the constraints of the world above. As he opened his eyes under water, the glow surrounded him, enchanting and serene. The creatures danced around him, weaving in and out of sight, their bioluminescence casting a soft light that transformed the ocean into a realm of magic. Ever reached out, his fingers brushing against the ethereal forms, and in that brief touch, he felt an indescribable bond, a connection that spoke of understanding beyond words. Time lost all meaning as Ivar floated, a part of the ocean and its mysteries. The creatures twirled around him, revealing glimpses of the life that thrived in the depths like tales whispered from generation to generation, a lineage that would carry on through the ages. Eventually, as the chill began to seep through the water, Ivar sensed it was time to return to the surface. He emerged, gasping for air, exhilaration coursing through him. He laughed, the sound mingling seamlessly with the gentle lap of water against his boat. The creatures had faded back into the depths, but their light lingered in his heart. He climbed back into the boat, his body still glistening with droplets of ocean water. He felt a profound peace within him, a feeling of belonging that he had never known before. The world around him felt richer, more vibrant, as the stars continued to twinkle brightly above, reflecting the wonder he had shared with the ocean. As Ivar let the boat drift, he gazed up at the sky, his mind alight with thoughts of the beauty he had witnessed. He smiled softly to himself, knowing he could return to this place, that the connection he felt would remain with him, a continuous thread weaving through his life. The night deepened, wrapping him in its cool embrace, and Ivar settled back against the boat, allowing his eyes to grow heavy. The rhythmic murmur of the waves coaxed him toward slumber, and he surrendered to the soothing lullaby of the sea. In that tranquil night, with stars twinkling overhead and the gentle whispers of the ocean in the background, Ivar drifted into dreams filled with dances of light, the promise of adventure still radiating in his heart. The boathouse stood silent and still, a guardian of secrets shared only with the waves, waiting for the next day's light to reveal a new chapter in Ivar's ongoing journey surroundings, stowing away his fishing gear and extinguishing the fire with a few splashes from the nearby water. The warmth from the sunset lingered in the air, but as darkness gathered, a cool breeze began its gentle passage over the coastline. Ivar moved back to the boathouse, drawn by the familiar creak of the wooden dock beneath his feet. The space felt alive with the echoes of the day, the laughter of waves still resonating in his ears. He paused at the entrance, catching a glimpse of the calm waters reflecting the colors of the fading light. The last hues of orange and pink faded into a deep blue, stars twinkling into existence one by one, and the moon rose high, a luminous orb casting silver rays upon the world. Inside, Ever lit an oil lamp, the soft yellow flame flickering gently, casting warm light on the walls adorned with nets and fishing paraphernalia. He settled onto a wooden stool, feeling the day's exertion seep from his limbs while his thoughts drifted lazily along the currents of the sea. The sound of the surf was a comforting backdrop, a familiar cadence that made his heart swell with gratitude. With the evening stretching before him, Ever took out a simple journal, its pages still crisp and waiting for stories. The ink flowed easily from his pen as he recounted the day's fishing adventures, the beauty of the ocean, the mesmerizing creatures that danced beneath the waves, and the inexplicable bond he felt with the water. Words flowed freely, depicting not just the sights but the deeper emotions woven through the experiences. The lamp flickered softly, illuminating Ivar's penmanship in the quiet space. Moments passed, and as he wrote, his eyelids grew heavy, the warmth of the oil lamp and the calm of the night weaving into a comforting shroud. He paused, pulling the journal close to his chest and allowing a yawn to slip past his lips like the soft sigh of the wind outside. Setting aside the journal, he made his way outside once again. The stars had fully emerged, their silver light shimmering upon the surface of the water. Ever stepped onto the dock, his bare feet sinking into the coolness of the wooden planks, and took a deep breath, inhaling the freshness of the night. He felt as though the ocean were sharing its secrets with him, the waves whispering tales of far-off lands and adventures yet to unfold. He strolled to the edge of the dock, leaning over to peer into the water. The bioluminescent creatures, seemingly still awake from the previous night, flitted below the surface, their lights dancing in the rippling shadows. Evar's heart raced with the thrill of the mystery that lay beneath, and he wondered what other tales the sea had in store for him. The calm made way for deeper introspection, and as he stared into the depths, he couldn't help but think about the future. What lay ahead was uncertain, but the fluid rhythm of the ocean felt reassuring. He felt as though the water was nudging him towards his own journey, one filled with discoveries and connections waiting to be formed. As the evening melded into night, Ever found himself drawn back inside the boathouse to the small warmth of the oil lamp. He lit a small fire in a stone hearth, the crackling of wood filling the silence, its warmth wrapping around him like an old friend. Sitting close, he let his thoughts wander. He wondered about the turtles, the glowing creatures, and the myriad life under the waves, each one a story unfolding, each ripple a reminder of the world around him. He thought of the seasons that would come and go, the countless sunsets he might witness, and the adventures that awaited him on days yet to dawn. As the fire flickered low, Ever clutched his journal, reflecting upon the simplicity that life had presented him. The boathouse felt like a little world of its own, suspended between the vastness of the ocean and the night sky. The quiet realization settled upon him that he was part of a much greater narrative, woven into the fabric of this coastal life, connected to the ocean's heart. Hours passed softly, the fire dying down to glowing embers, and Ever allowed his thoughts to drift gently into dreams once more. He turned back to the window, watching the moonlight dance across the waves. Each crest and trough mirrored the rhythm of his own heartbeat, the calming sound lulling him into a state of deep relaxation. In that sacred stillness of the night, Ever closed his eyes, surrendering to the pull of sleep. The warmth of the fire enveloped him, and the whispers of the night swirled around him like a lullaby, carrying him into dreams filled with the harmonious life of the ocean. Here, in the heart of the boathouse, he felt safe, cherished, part of a world that held wonders yet to be discovered. As the clock ticked past midnight, the ocean continued its eternal dance, waves rolling gently onto the shore. Patience and mystery mingled in the air, a promise that tomorrow would unveil the beauty of yet another day, filled with the wonders that only this coastal haven could bestow our roundings, the satisfaction of a productive day settling comfortably within him. The boathouse, his steadfast companion, stood resilient against the backdrop of the vast ocean, its sturdy wooden frame cradling memories both fresh and old. As twilight deepened, Ever felt the pull of the water once more. The ocean, calm and inviting, gleamed under the encroaching shadows. He decided to take a stroll along the shoreline, the soft sand yielding beneath his bare feet. With the air cooling around him, the world transformed into shades of deep blue and black, the horizon melding seamlessly with the night sky. Ever followed the water's edge, hearing the gentle lapping against the shore. Occasionally, he paused to collect smooth stones, cool to his touch, their surfaces worn smooth by the persistent caress of the waves. He tucked them into his pocket, small treasures to remind him of this evening, each one holding a fragment of the ocean's timeless story. As he walked, the stillness around him felt like a living thing, filled with soft sounds that carried the essence of the night, the rustle of leaves in the cool breeze, the far-off calls of seabirds settling down for the night, and the deep, rhythmic sounds of the ocean. He wandered further down the beach, intrigued by a flicker of movement in the shallows. Leaning closer, he saw a school of small fish darting just beneath the surface, their tiny bodies glinting as they caught the last rays of sunlight fading into dusk. With a touch of wonder, he realized how alive this world was, how every creature played a role in the intricate dance of the ocean. As the sky surrendered to night, stars began to pierce the fabric of the darkness, twinkling above him like scattered gems. Ever felt a connection to the vastness around him, each star a reminder of the countless stories that span the cosmos of beautiful contrast to his simple life at the boathouse. He lay back against the cool sand, gazing up, feeling both small and immensely vast at the same time. Time slipped into the evening, and he eventually rose, turning towards the boathouse where the warmth of the fire awaited him. Inside, he stirred the coals, adding a few small logs that crackled and popped, sending a flicker of light dancing across the room. Settling into his chair with a steaming mug of tea, he let the warmth seep into his hands. He glanced out the window, watching the reflection of the star shimmer on the water surface, creating a gentle mirror to the heavens above. A feeling of contentment blossomed in his heart. It was as though he was living in a moment stitched from dreams. As the night continued its slow descent, Ever picked up his journal, feeling the familiar weight of the leather cover. He opened to a fresh page, the soft sound of the pen gliding across the paper the only break in the silence. Thoughts flowed, capturing the beauty of the evening, the magic of the ocean, and the stories waiting to be uncovered. He wrote of the fish that had danced beneath the waves, the treasures he had found along the shore, and the stars that winked down at him, feeling like old friends. Each stroke of the pen was a small celebration of gratitude, a tribute to the life he had chosen by the sea. Hours drifted by, the fire now a gentle glow in the corner of the room while the distant sound of waves whispered their eternal lullaby. Ivar closed his eyes for a moment, allowing the warmth of the fire and the weight of his thoughts to wrap around him. A breeze slipped through the crack in the window, rustling the pages of his journal, pulling him back into consciousness. He looked up, noticing how the moonlight bathed the boathouse in a soft, silver glow. He felt a new energy surging within him, an urge to explore what lay beyond the borders of his quiet life, perhaps not far, just a little ways along the coastline, to discover hidden nooks and crannies that held secrets waiting to be unveiled. With that thought, Ever rose from his chair, the journal resting on the table, untouched for the moment. He stepped outside, the cool air wrapping around him like a light shawl. The stars felt closer tonight, each pinprick of light a tiny lantern guiding him forth. He began to walk again, heading towards the distant outline of cliffs that rose against the night. The path was familiar, the soft crunch of gravel underfoot a comforting sound. As he moved, the rhythm of the world enveloped him, each step becoming part of a greater journey. When he reached the cliffs, Ever paused at the edge, the ocean sprawling below, waves crashing softly against the rocks. The moon hung low, casting a luminous path across the water. Here, the air carried a taste of salt and freedom. He breathed deeply, feeling invigorated by the night, the stars, and the expanse of the sea. He watched as the waves kissed the rocks, the foam sparkling like tiny diamonds, and he felt a feeling of belonging swell within him. Above, the stars blinked knowingly, as though they too were part of the secret exchange between the sea and the shore. Time unfolded lazily, and Ever lost track of it, his thoughts drifting along with the waves. With every moment spent by the edge of the cliffs, he felt a quiet certainty growing inside him, a belief that he was exactly where he was meant to be, poised on the brink of something more significant than he could yet understand. Eventually, he turned back, retracing his steps to the boathouse. When he arrived, the fire had diminished to glowing embers, but the warmth remained inviting. He settled back into his chair, tired yet fulfilled, the wild beauty of the evening lacing its way into the fabric of his being. With a sigh of contentment, Ever picked up his journal again, letting the ink flow as he recorded the magic of the night. The feeling of his pen moving across the pages echoed the waves' gentle rhythm, a mirror to the world outside. As sleep began to tug at the corners of his mind once more, Ever closed the journal, placing it carefully back on the table. He extinguished the fire, the last flickers of light dancing before fading to darkness. The night enveloped the boathouse, and he settled down, pulling a warm blanket over himself, nestled into the familiar embrace of the room. With a final glance out the window at the vast night sky and its glowing stars, Ever let the sounds of the ocean guide him gently into slumber, dreams once again swirling with the tales of the waves, the turtles, and the mysteries that lay beneath the surface. The world around him faded into stillness, the gentle lull of the ocean singing him into a tranquil rest, a promise of new adventures awaiting him with the morning light are pauses to take in the vastness above, the constellations weaving stories he'd often pondered as a child. He remembers those nights spent with his father, gazing upward, lost in tales of heroes and ancient myths. Each star seemed to hum with a familiar melody, a thread connecting him to all that had come before. The evening air grew cooler, carrying with it the briny scent of the ocean and the earthy aroma of the shoreline. He continues to walk along the water's edge, the soft lap of the waves caressing his ankles. Each gentle ebb and flow felt like a greeting, a reminder of the eternal dance between land and sea. Ever lets the cool water splash against him, delighting in the sensation as the tide plays lightly around his feet. As he wonders, Evar's gaze falls upon the rocky outcrop that jutted into the sea, illuminated under the watchful gaze of the moon. It was a favorite spot, a place where he had often come to ponder life's mysteries. He makes his way to it, the stones cool beneath his soles, and settles into a flat area, his back against the aged rock. The rhythm of the waves becomes a soft backdrop to his thoughts, allowing his mind to drift freely. He contemplates the day that has unfolded, the simplicity of fishing, the satisfaction of a meal, and the calmness of solitude. In this quiet moment, he realizes how much he has come to cherish these hours alone by the shore. Here, he feels grounded, free to explore the depth of his thoughts like the ocean itself, vast and full of hidden wonders. With a deep breath, he closes his eyes, letting the sounds of the night envelop him. The chirping of crickets and the distant call of a nightbird weave into the symphony of the waves, forming a lullaby meant only for him. He thinks of the glowing creature from his dreams, its radiant form flickering just beneath the waves. In his mind's eye, he can see it gliding gracefully through the water, a guardian of the sea's secrets. Time slips past as he relaxes against the rock, lost in the gentle embrace of night. A soft breeze captures his attention, rustling the leaves of nearby trees, and with it comes the scent of damp earth, mixed with hints of sweet wildflowers. Ivar opens his eyes again, feeling refreshed and full of an inexplicable energy. After some time, he rises from his rocky perch, the urge to explore pulling him away from his tranquil setting. He finds his way back to the boathouse, his feet leaving imprints in the cool sand. Upon entering, he glances around, the familiar sight of the weathered wood and the scent of salty air filling him with warmth. The fire had long since cooled, but the memories of its warmth lingered. Ever retrieves his journal once more, feeling the urge to record the beauty of the evening. He runs his fingers over the worn leather cover before flipping it open, the pages filled with sketches and thoughts of the world around him. The ink flows easily from his pen as he captures the essence of the night, the stars above, the gentle rhythms of the sea, and the promise of adventure that awaited him. Minutes stretch into hours as he writes, lost in the world of his own creation. The stories tumble forth, an exploration of the mysteries of the ocean, the characters that inhabit its depths, and the lessons he learns along the shore. He writes of the glowing creature, weaving it into the fabric of his tale, a guardian who watches over the sea, a protector of dreams. As the hour grows late, Ever sets his pen down, a satisfied sigh escaping his lips. He closes the journal, the ink still fresh, and places it back on the table, feeling a feeling of peace settle over him like a warm blanket. He stands, stretching once more, and glances out at the night sky, the stars now twinkling more brilliantly than ever. He realizes that despite the solitude, he is never truly alone. The night, the sea, and even the stars seem to share their stories with him, a quiet companionship that fills the silent hours. Noticing the coolness creeping into the air, he decides it's time to turn in. But before he does, a thought tugs at him perhaps he would take a small boat out into the bay before the sun rises, to greet the day from the water. The notion sparks excitement within him. Ever slips into his bed, the soft linens comforting against his skin. He wraps himself in the warmth and watches the flickering shadows dance against the walls, cast by the last remnants of the dying fire. As sleep begins to weave its gentle spell, his thoughts drift back to the ocean, the creatures that dwell there, and the stories waiting to be told. Sleep envelops him as he drifts into a dream-filled slumber, the sounds of the waves continuing their soft chorus, lulling him deeper into rest, wrapping him in the comforting embrace of the night. In the early hours of the morning, the world remained cloaked in darkness, but a faint light began to stir on the horizon, hinting at the coming dawn. Ivar's dreams softened into shapes of shadows and light, where the glowing creature danced playfully beneath the waves, beckoning him closer, guiding him towards the heart of the sea's mysteries. As the first hints of golden light kissed the horizon, Ivar stirred once more, his body responding to the gentle call of the new day. He opened his eyes to the soft light filtering through the window, illuminating the boathouse with a warm, golden glow. The air felt fresh, a hint of coolness with the promise of a delightful day ahead. With renewed energy, he slipped out of bed, pulling on his clothes with anticipation. The idea of venturing out into the bay had taken root in his mind, and he felt an undeniable urge to greet the day from the water. He moved quickly to gather his fishing gear, the familiar motions bringing a smile to his face as he prepared for the morning's adventure. After securing his boat, Ivar made his way to the water's edge, the soft sand cool beneath his feet. The ocean stretched out before him, calm and inviting, reflecting the soft colors of dawn. As he stepped into the boat, the gentle rocking felt reassuring, as though the water itself welcomed him. With a few steady strokes of the oars, he glided out into the bay, the rhythmic sound of the oars dipping and rising matching the heartbeat of the world around him. The beauty of the morning unfolded with each passing moment. The golden light filtered through the clouds, painting the sky in hues of pink and orange, casting a warm glow upon the water. Ever leaned back, soaking in the sights and sounds of nature awakening. The calls of seabirds echoed above him, their silhouettes dancing against the early light. He felt a rush of exhilaration as he drifted further into the bay, the gentle waves lapping against the side of the boat, creating a steady, calming rhythm. Glancing down into the crystalline water, he marveled at the world beneath the surface. Schools of fish darted playfully, their scales glimmering like silver beneath the sun's gentle embrace. For a moment he lost himself in their dance, imagining their lives, the secrets they held as they swam freely in their ocean realm. As the sun rose higher, Ever took a moment of pause, letting the oars rest in his lap as he savored the quiet solitude around him. The beauty of the morning washed over him, filling him with a feeling of clarity and purpose. It was in the stillness, surrounded by the beauty of the sea, that he felt most connected to himself and the world. In this moment, everything felt possible. The adventures that lay ahead shimmered like the sun on the water, waiting patiently for him to embark upon them. The glowing creature from his dreams flickered in his mind, a reminder of the mysteries waiting just below the surface, urging him to explore and uncover what lay hidden. With a renewed sense of purpose, Ever picked up his oars once more, ready to chart his path along the calm waters, fully embracing whatever the day might bring. He set his sights on the shoreline, feeling the wind at his back and the promise of adventure in his heart as he rowed toward the sunlit horizon. Ivar's oars carved through the water with ease, sending gentle ripples dancing across the surface. The morning stretched around him like a welcoming hug, each breath he took filled with the scent of salt and sea. As he navigated toward a rocky outcrop, he contemplated the thrill of fishing, the possibility of catching something good for supper bringing a feeling of anticipation that gleamed almost as brightly as the sun. After a short while, he arrived at a familiar spot, a secluded cove where the water turned a deep azure and the rocks jutted out like ancient sentinels. He tied the boat securely to a weathered post, his fingers brushing against the rough wood, feeling the texture beneath his skin. Stepping onto the small shore, he unloaded his gear, the sounds of his movements merging with the gentle lapping of waves against the rocky beach. Ivar set up his fishing line with deft hands, the familiar motions calming his mind. The world around him felt alive. The rustle of leaves in the nearby trees provided a soothing backdrop to the rhythmic sounds of nature. He cast his line into the water, the lure gliding through the air and landing silently upon the surface, creating a small splash that quickly faded into the serene atmosphere. He sat on a flat stone, the coolness of the rock grounding him as he settled into wait. The sun climbed higher, warming his skin and filling the cove with golden light. While he waited, Ever allowed his mind to wander, envisioning the soft glow of the creature from his dreams. Its luminescent form was an enigma, and he felt a yearning to uncover the mysteries of the underwater world, as though that dream had been a gentle nudge from the depths of the ocean. His thoughts were broken by a tug on his line, a sudden thrill rushing through him. He jerked his rod upward, feeling the weight of the fish on the other end, the struggle a dance between him and the creature beneath the waves. With careful precision, he reeled it in, the rhythmic pull echoing the heartbeat of his own excitement. Moments later, a shimmering silver fish broke the water's surface, splashing briefly before he lifted it from the water, the sunlight catching the scales and dazzling him momentarily. "Ah, you're a beauty," he murmured to the fish, holding it carefully in his hands. The creature wriggled slightly, its gills fluttering as it gasped for air. Ever took a moment to admire its form, the way the sunlight caught the intricate patterns along its sides. With a gentle movement, he released it back into the water, satisfied to witness its ascent back into the depths, free once more. The rest of the morning passed in a serene rhythm of casting and reeling, the minutes blurring together as he lost himself in the tranquility of the cove. While Ever caught a few more fish, he also took moments to simply breathe, to listen to the symphony of nature around him, the calls of distant gulls and the rustling foliage above him wrapping him in a soothing embrace. Eventually, the sun reached its zenith, and Ever decided it was time to head back. He stowed his gear and made his way back to the boat, feeling satisfied with the day's bounty. As he gently rowed back toward the boathouse, the water shimmered under the midday sun, creating a vast mirror reflecting the sky above. Upon reaching the sandy shore, he pulled the boat up and secured it, then began his walk back to the boathouse. The warmth of the day enveloped him, yet a gentle breeze carried the cooling scent of the ocean, refreshing and invigorating. With each step, he felt the quiet satisfaction of a morning well spent, the thrill of adventure mingling with the comfort of home. Inside the boathouse, he set about cleaning the fish, the sharp, clean scent of fresh catch filling the room as the sunlight streamed through the windows. He prepared a simple meal, savoring the simple act of cooking, the rhythmic chopping, the bubbling of water, and the way the flavors melded together. As the fish sizzled in the pan, the sound was a gentle reminder of the day's peaceful endeavors. After his meal, Ever cleaned up, wiping down the surfaces and placing the remnants in a small bucket outside, where the gulls would surely find a snack. The work felt fulfilling, a dance of responsibility against the backdrop of leisure and joy. Satisfied with his labors, he took a moment to sit at the table, the sunlight casting a warm glow around him. He gazed out the window, watching the waves play along the shoreline, the way the sunlight made them sparkle like gems scattered on the surface. As the afternoon deepened, Evar felt a pull toward the sea again. With a feeling of calm determination, he grabbed his fishing gear once more and decided to take a leisurely stroll along the beach. The sand felt warm beneath his feet as he meandered along the shore, the gentle breeze tousling his hair. The beach was almost deserted, the only sounds the soft crash of waves and the distant call of seabirds. He paused occasionally to gather small shells and smooth stones, their forms beautiful in their imperfection. Each one felt like a treasure, a piece of the beach's story tucked away in his pocket as a token of the day. Soon, Ever found a comfortable spot on a smooth boulder, settling in to absorb the peace of the afternoon. He closed his eyes, letting the sounds and scents wash over him. The salty air filled his lungs, and he listened to the rhythmic pulse of the ocean, each wave a heartbeat, each splash a soft sigh. In this tranquility, time seemed to stretch out beautifully, becoming an endless moment where all worries fell away, leaving only a profound sense of belonging and contentment. As the sun began to dip lower in the sky, painting the horizon in shades of gold and crimson, Ever reluctantly rose from his perch, feeling rejuvenated yet peaceful. He made his way back to the boathouse, the air cooling pleasantly around him. Inside, he set about preparing for the night, gathering a few supplies for a small fire as he contemplated whether to cook the fish he had caught earlier or save it for a special treat. The thought of an evening with friends sparked a warm glow in his heart. He chose to keep it for another day, for tomorrow promised its own adventures, its own discoveries. As dusk settled over the coastal landscape, Ever lit a small fire outside the boathouse, the flickering flames casting a soft light on his surroundings. He settled into a comfortable chair, positioned to face the water, captivated by the way the light danced on the waves. The sun melted into the horizon, leaving behind a canvas of stars that twinkled brightly in the deepening night. He sat there for a while, lost in thought, enveloped in the safety of the moment. The sounds of the night crept in slowly, the chirping of crickets and the distant call of owls blending harmoniously with the crackling fire. He felt connected to the world, the night sky above him vast and infinite, hinting at the mysteries of life. The fire warmed him as the air turned cooler, and he took a deep breath, feeling as though he belonged to this place and time. Perhaps it was the remnants of the day's adventures, or maybe the promise of tomorrow's discoveries, but Ivar felt a feeling of peace settling within him. As the stars began to twinkle more brightly, he watched the flames flicker, drawing shapes in the air. Each sparkle sparked memories and dreams, the encroaching night a canvas upon which to paint his aspirations. Tomorrow, he thought, would be a time for exploration, for new beginnings, and the whispers of the ocean would guide him. Eventually, the fire began to die down, and the chill of the night was a gentle reminder that it was time to retreat within. Evar gathered what was left of the embers, ensuring they were well extinguished before stepping back inside the boathouse. The warm glow of the lantern awaited him, casting familiar shadows against the walls. He lit another lantern to cast more light around the cozy room, illuminating the simple comforts that surrounded him, his well-loved fishing gear, a worn table where he had shared many meals, and the walls that echoed with stories of past adventures. This boathouse was a sanctuary, a place where he could reflect and dream. Before settling down for the night, Ivar found himself at the window again, looking out at the water under the vast sky. The shimmering reflection of the stars danced upon the surface like diamonds cast upon dark velvet, and he felt an overwhelming gratitude wash through him. Nature had a way of reminding him of the beauty of existence, and he held on to that feeling close. As he retired for the evening, he tucked himself into bed with the soft sound of the waves lulling him into comfort. The day had been one of simplicity and joy, and he felt a deep sense of fulfillment as he closed his eyes. In the hours that followed, the world around him settled into a tranquil hush, the rhythmic sound of the water outside a constant companion. Ivar drifted into the softness of sleep, his mind swirling with dreams of adventures yet to come, the mysteries of the ocean awaiting his eager heart when the morning arrived, once more the ocean whispering promises of what tomorrow might bring. The night wore on, and Ivar found himself lost in a dreamscape where the waves spoke in familiar dialects, guiding him through underwater gardens filled with luminescent corals and schools of shimmering fish that swirled like autumn leaves caught in a gentle breeze. He felt weightless, diving deeper into this aquatic wonder, where every creature carried a secret, and every bubble held a story. Though his dreams were vivid and colorful, the gentle rhythm of the night kept him tethered to reality, the soft lapping of the waves against the boathouse and the occasional rustling of leaves outside grounding him in the moment. Hours passed, and the shadows in his room grew longer as the moon sailed high above, spilling silver light across the surface of the water. Evar stirred, blinking away the remnants of sleep as the wisp of night deepened around him. He shifted beneath his blankets, feeling the fabric cool against his skin. Thoughts of the day tugged at the edges of his mind, but the allure of the moonlit water called him back to the window. Rising quietly, he slipped on his slippers and tiptoed across the wooden floor, careful not to disturb the stillness of the night. The moment he peered outside, the sight took his breath away. The ocean seemed alive, cradled in the moon's embrace. Light danced over the surface, creating a silver pathway that stretched from the shore to the horizon, inviting him to follow. For a moment, he stood there, entranced by the beauty before him. The trees swayed softly in the night breeze, whispering secrets only they knew. It was then that he noticed a small shape moving just beyond the water's edge, half hidden by the shadows of the wooden dock. Ever leaned closer. Curiosity piqued the shape was small, perhaps a creature of some sort, darting in and out of the moonlight. It seemed to pause, looking back at him. Was it a fish, or perhaps a curious otter? Deciding to step outside, Ever grabbed his fishing lantern and made his way cautiously down the wooden steps leading to the dock. The wood creaked softly under his weight, the familiar sounds of the night wrapping around him like an old friend. As he stepped onto the dock, the cool touch of the wooden planks kissed his feet, sending a shiver of excitement through him. The ocean's briny scent mingled with the earthly smell of the docks. Moving slowly toward the edge, he raised the lantern higher, illuminating the water beneath him. To his delight, he discovered the small creature was indeed an otter, swimming playfully in the moonlight. It turned, its whiskers twitching, and for a fleeting moment, their eyes met. Ivar felt a spark of joy at this unexpected encounter. The otter flipped onto its back, floating serenely, feasting on something it had caught. its eyes sparkling with mischief. Ivar chuckled softly, enthralled by the otter's antics. He leaned against the railing, watching its playful dance, a small part of the ocean's rhythm. The night deepened around him, the stars continuing to hold their vigil overhead, and for a while he surrendered to the tranquility of the moment. Soon the otter dove under the water, and Ivar leaned closer, hoping for another glimpse. The reflections on the surface rippled, and though the otter did not return, the water was alive with the gentle motion of the tide, as though in response to Ivar's gaze. He took a deep breath, feeling a wave of comfort wash over him. The world felt vast yet intimately close, a serene balance that spilled into his heart. He had always loved the ocean for its mysteries, and this late night visit reminded him of its magic. After a time, he retreated back to the boathouse, the lantern's warm glow spilling into a small sanctuary. He stowed it away and settled into a well-worn chair, allowing the evening stillness to settle within. The flickering embers from his earlier fire provided a gentle warmth, casting shadows that danced along the walls and told stories of their own. He pulled a small leather journal from the shelf, opening its pages to reveal sketches and notes from his adventures. He had often documented his thoughts and encounters, and tonight felt like a worthy addition. With a soft pencil in hand, he began to jot down his meeting with the otter, outlining the joy it had sparked in him, the spontaneity of life drawing him closer to nature. His handwriting flowed smoothly across the page, and with each word, he felt more connected to the essence of the night. The ocean's mysteries, the gentle creatures that resided within, the soft sounds of the world outside all flowed into his ink, creating an ebb and flow of thoughts that mirrored the tides. As he finished writing, Ivar leaned back in his chair, staring at the small fire still glowing in the hearth. The embers whispered their final goodbyes, each crackle punctuating the silence, wrapping him in the warmth of contentment. The lantern's light flickered, and he closed the journal, satisfied with the quiet record of his thoughts. The night trickled on, unhurried and soft, the only sounds the gentle waves and the distant calls of nocturnal creatures. Ever felt the heaviness of sleep return, pulling at him like the tide. He rose, stretching his limbs before moving toward his cozy bed once again. As he slid beneath the covers, the fabric cool against his skin, he reflected on the little joys that had woven through his day. The hunting of shells along the shore, the catch of fish that would wait for another time, and the unexpected visit from the playful otter. Each memory felt like a gem tucked away, ready to shine in his heart whenever he needed warmth. Ever nestled into his pillow, the soft sound of the waves continuing to serenade him. He let his eyes flutter closed, surrendering to the dreamlike quality of the night. His mind wandered freely, drifting through the very essence of the ocean, where waves helped carry his thoughts to distant shores yet untouched by his adventures. Eventually, the moon climbed higher in the sky, a sentinel of the night. The world outside remained calm, the air sweet and cool, wrapping around the boathouse like a gentle sigh. Ivar's breath deepened, the comforting cadence of the ocean lulling him into a state of pure serenity. He dreamed of star-studded skies, of sailing across tranquil waters, where the echoes of past adventures danced alongside him. Each wave released a story, resonating within him. The deeper he traveled into sleep, the more he felt the presence of those hidden depths that called him forth. Through it all, Ivar kept a beam of light in his heart, a promise of a future intertwined with the rhythm of the tides, where every mystery would find its answer, and every adventure awaited him with open arms. The night wrapped around him, and he surrendered completely, drifting softly, deeply, into dreams unbound, where endless adventures awaited him under the watchful gaze of the stars. As the soft swells of the night continued their lullaby, time slipped by as imperceptibly as the tide. Ever remained wrapped in a cocoon of dreams that flowed with the gentle rhythm of the ocean outside. In that tranquil state, the line between reality and fantasy blurred, and he found himself walking along an endless shoreline, where the moonlight danced upon the water. He explored this ethereal beach, sand soft underfoot, each grain glinting like a tiny star. The ocean was a canvas of silver, and Ivar felt an inexplicable pull toward the water's edge. It seemed to call him, each wave curling and breaking with a promise of wonder and discovery. Laughter bubbled up from the depths of his heart. It was a joyous sound, echoing the playful spirit of the otter he had met earlier in the evening. As he knelt by the shore, he could see an array of shells scattered amidst the foam, each one unique and beautiful in its own way. He picked one up, marveling at its intricate patterns, the delicate ridges and smooth contours telling stories of the sea. Ivar felt the weight of the shell in his palm, a tangible connection to the mysteries of the ocean, and he knew that each collection of shells, each treasure found, was a piece of something much larger than himself. In the depths of his dream, a subtle shift occurred. The scene began to dissolve around him. The waves grew more pronounced, crashing rhythmically, and he found himself sitting on the edge of a small boat, gently drifting over the placid waters. The boat rocked ever so slightly, a comforting motion that kept him grounded and present. The stars twinkled overhead, their distant light shimmering like scattered diamonds, illuminating the sails that billowed softly in the night breeze. Ivar took a moment to breathe deeply, feeling the fresh, salty air fill his lungs. He reached for the oars, their smooth wooden handles cool against his palms. With each stroke, he glided effortlessly over the surface, the water parting with a soft whisper, as though welcoming him on this quiet journey. He had no particular destination in mind. The joy lay in the experience itself, in the freedom of being out on the water, surrounded by an open expanse that seemed to stretch into infinity. Soft clouds drifted lazily across the moon, casting flickering shadows that danced upon the water. As he rowed, Ivar noticed something in the distance, a faint glow that flickered like a lantern. Curiosity took hold, and he adjusted his course, feeling the pull of the light in the darkness. As he approached, the glow transformed into a gentle warmth that felt both familiar and mystical. The glow revealed an idyllic cove, nestled between cliffs draped in lush greenery. The waves lapped against the shore, creating a melody that harmonized with the gentle rustle of the leaves above. Ivar had never seen anything like it, as though he had discovered a hidden jewel lost in time. He eased the boat to a stop and stepped onto the soft, sandy beach, feeling the cool grain slip between his toes. In this serene refuge, the air was fragrant with the scent of wildflowers and the tang of salt, a delightful blend that brought an unexpected joy to his heart. Ivar wandered along the shoreline, picking up small treasure smooth pebbles, delicate sea glass, and bits of driftwood worn by the tides. Each piece felt imbued with a story, each a reminder of the sea's ever-changing nature. He envisioned the journeys they had taken, the waves that had smoothed their edges, and he cherished each of them as a reminder of life's impermanence. The distant sound of laughter caught his attention, sweet and melodic, pulling him toward a cluster of trees that edged the cove. As he drew closer, he saw a gathering of figures, illuminated by the soft glow of lanterns strung between the branches. They were artists and dreamers, each caught in a moment of creation, some painting the scene before them, others weaving gentle melodies with their instruments. The scene was inviting, filled with warmth and camaraderie, and Ivar felt an intoxicating happiness swell within him. He felt drawn to an artist who was capturing the beauty of the night on canvas, the brush moving deftly as it translated the ethereal light into vivid strokes. Ivar approached slowly, intrigued by the way the artist harmonized color and emotion. The artist turned, offering a smile that radiated kindness. "You can feel it, can't you?" they said, gesturing toward the canvas. "The magic of this place." Ivar nodded, feeling the truth in those words resonate. "It's enchanting," he replied, his voice barely above a whisper. He could feel the energy in the air, a palpable excitement that surged through the gathering. It was as though they were all part of something larger, a celebration of creativity and friendship woven together by the very essence of the ocean. As he stood there, he noticed the moon's reflection upon the water had changed, shimmering with a kaleidoscope of colors as the gathering sang and played, their voices a sweet harmony that interwove with the sounds of the sea. The warmth of the lanterns cast golden light upon their faces, each person illuminated with joy and life. Ivar felt as though he had stepped into a dream, a moment that would linger in his heart long after he awoke. He joined in the laughter and melodies, feeling a feeling of belonging that he hadn't expected. In this gathering, the worries of the world felt distant, replaced by an overwhelming feeling of peace and acceptance. Each song sung became a thread that tied them together, weaving tales of the sea and sky, tales of adventure and wonder, tales of lives lived under the watchful gaze of the stars. As the hours ebbed away, Ever felt the gentle pull of sleep begin to return, inviting him to leave the sanctuary but promising that it would still exist in the corners of his mind. He knew he could carry this light with him, allowing it to shine through the shadows of waking life. With a final glance at the gathering, Ever stepped back toward the water, feeling the cool waves lapping against his feet, washing over him in soft caresses. He gazed out at the horizon, the stars twinkling above like 1,000 watchful eyes. A sense of gratitude filled his heart as he reflected on the magic of the evening, the connections made, and the stories shared. In that moment, he knew he would return. The cove was a place of beauty, of creativity, a sanctuary where dreams could flourish. He took a deep breath, anchoring the warmth of the night within him, ready to embrace the journey back to the boat. Yet, just as he turned to leave, a soft voice called out from behind him. "Don't forget us," it said, a gentle reminder that the bonds of friendship are never easily broken, even across the vastness of time and space. Evar smiled, his heart full, and with it he knew he would carry the essence of this night with him long after the dream faded. He returned to the boat, the gentle rocking a comfort as he sat down, the waves guiding him back. The moon hung low in the sky, a silent companion as Ivar began to paddle toward the shimmering glow of home. Time seemed to stretch, every stroke of the oars melding into the moment, a rhythm that matched his heartbeat. Eventually, he returned to the familiar shores of his boathouse. The wooden structure stood sentinel against the night, its windows glowing softly with the remnants of firelight. Once ashore, he stepped off the boat and onto the soft sand, a feeling of calm flooding through him, as though the sea itself welcomed him back, cradling him in its timeless embrace. Inside the boathouse, the warmth of the hearth beckoned, the embers glowing as though to greet him. The familiar scent of the ocean lingered, wrapping around him like a cherished memory. Ever took a moment to sit before the fire, the flames dancing gently, casting flickering shadows on the walls as he reflected on the night's wonders. With his heart still buoyed by the magic of the cove, he settled into the comfort of his bed once more. The soft sheets enveloped him, and as he lay there, a contented smile played upon his lips. The adventures of the evening swirled in his mind a treasure trove of dreams, and he felt a feeling of peace wash over him. The soft sounds of the waves continued their soothing serenade outside, a reminder of the connectedness of all things. Evar surrendered to the comfort of the night, allowing the lull of the ocean to guide him back into the realm of sleep, where new adventures awaited him and dreams yet to be unfurled. The rhythm of the tides echoed in his heart, a constant reminder that tomorrow held the promise of discovery, of new joys to explore. With that thought, he drifted off, a smile lingering on his lips, wrapped in the warmth of the night, the mysteries of the ocean waiting patiently for his return. The night stretched on, calm and serene, as the gentle rise and fall of the waves accompanied Ivar into the soft realms of sleep. Time curled around him like the tides hugging the shore, each passing moment a comforting reminder of the life he led in this tranquil boathouse by the sea. As he drifted deeper into slumber, a shifting sensation in the air began to pull at his consciousness, beckoning him toward a dream that felt vivid yet elusive. In this new dreamscape, he found himself walking along the shoreline, the cool sand beneath his bare feet grounding him in the moment. The moon hung high, illuminating the world with a silvery sheen, while stars twinkled playfully in the vast expanse above. He walked, each step leading him closer to the water, where the rhythmic lap of the ocean called out to him. The night seemed filled with a dance of shadows, the silhouettes of distant boats swaying gently, their beauty enhanced by the nocturnal light. At the water's edge, Ivar knelt down, letting the cool waves wash over his fingers, leaving a trail of frothy bubbles that twinkled like diamonds in the moonlight. Suddenly, a familiar playfulness caught his eye, and there was the otter he had seen earlier, darting through the water with joyful abandon. This time, however, there were two otters, gliding effortlessly beneath the surface, their sleek bodies slicing through the gentle waves. Ivar couldn't help but grin, feeling that the essence of their frolic was a celebration of life and freedom. He watched as they danced with each other, swirling and twirling in a merry chase across the moonlit expanse. In that peaceful space, Ivar felt his worries and cares fade away, replaced by the sheer joy of their playful antics. The pair frequently broke the surface, raindrop-like splashes shimmering all around them, as though they were casting magic into the air. Wanting to join their revelry, Ivar found himself instinctively laughing, the sound mingling with the ocean's whispers. Mesmerized by their spirit, he waded into the shallows, the water cool against his skin. The otters playfully approached him, their curious eyes sparkling with mischief, as though inviting him to partake in their spirited game. Ivar crouched low, extending his hands into the water. The otters swirled around him, their silky fur brushing against his fingers as they weaved in and out, their delight infectious. Laughter bubbled up within him, mixing with the sounds of nature, merging into a symphony that seemed to echo through the vastness of the night. As the playful otters continued their dance, Ivar suddenly felt a tug at his heart, a yearning for those he cherished. The warmth of family and friends enveloped him, filling the void with memories of laughter and shared moments. There, under the vast starry sky, you realize that while the ocean may be vast and filled with mysteries, it is also a reminder of the connections we forge, both in the physical world and in our dreams. With the otters now gently pulling away, Ever watched as they dove beneath the surface, shimmering shadows disappearing into the depths. The moonlight cast a serene glow on the water, and Ever felt a quiet satisfaction settle in his heart, knowing that he was part of something larger, part of the ebb and flow of life, the infinite cycle of existence that bound all beings in a delicate dance. As the dream began to shift, the shoreline blurred and later morphed into the familiar surroundings of the boathouse. The sounds of the waves steadily pulsing outside became clearer, and Ivar felt the softness of his bed beneath him, the flickering embers a comforting presence in the quiet darkness. He could still see the glimmering otters, their playful nature lingering in his mind, brightening the corners of the room with their joy. The warmth of the fire cast gentle shadows, and as Ivar stirred, still entranced by the dream, he took a moment to inhale the dreamscape lingering in the air. The salty scent of the sea coaxed him further into wakefulness, the comfort of the boathouse drawing him back to the present, where the warmth of his blankets cocooned him. He opened his eyes, the soft light of dawn beginning to seep into the horizon beyond his window. Even at this hour, there was a feeling of promise hanging in the air, a call to new adventures awaiting him just beyond the boathouse door. Ever lay there a little longer, allowing the remnants of his dream to settle in his heart, each detail infusing him with an energy that spoke of exploration and wonder. Finally, he swung his legs over the side of the bed and stood up, stretching and looking out the window where the first hints of dawnlight danced upon the ocean surface. He could hardly wait to experience what the day had in store. He opened the door, and the salty breeze greeted him like an old friend, filling him with a feeling of renewal. The boathouse creaked softly as he moved about, the familiar sound soothing him as he prepared for the day ahead. He brewed a small pot of coffee, savoring the rich aroma that filled the space, mingling with the fresh sea air. From the window, he watched the distant boats, bobbing gently in the water, calling to him like sirens beckoning sailors of old. After pouring himself a cup, he took a moment to sit by the window, observing the quiet morning unfold. A school of fish broke the surface, creating tiny ripples that glimmered in the nascent sunlight, and Ever felt a swell of excitement at the thought of setting out to fish again. This time, perhaps he would venture a little further out, exploring the waters that encircled the cove. With a heart full of anticipation, he rose from his seat and gathered his gear. The oars were sturdy and strong, the fishing line well prepared with a fresh lure waiting to entice the day's catch. Ivar took a moment to glance at his tools, each one a trusted companion on his journeys, and he smiled, feeling grateful for the simple but rich life he led near the coast. Stepping outside, he felt the sun warming his face, a gentle reminder that the world was alive and vibrant, ready to share its secrets. Every element of the morning, the sound of the gulls overhead, the rustling of the leaves in the breeze, The soft lap of the water against the shore felt like an invitation to embark on his next adventure. Evar made his way to the boat, the small wooden vessel waiting patiently at the water's edge, tethered only by the soft grasp of the sand. He released the mooring line and climbed aboard, settling in with a deep contentment. This small boat, with its worn wood and familiar creaks, was a vessel of dreams and stories, each journey melding into the next. As he pushed off into the calm waters, the boat glided smoothly, the ripples spreading outwards, marking his passage. The sea sparkled under the brightening sky, and Ivar felt the anticipation of the day ahead. With each stroke of the oars, he moved deeper into the embrace of the ocean, surrounded by the beauty that had become an extension of himself. Hours passed gently, marked only by the shifting light and the occasional catch of a silvery fish that splashed triumphantly into his net. He marveled at the bounty the sea offered, each catch accompanied by the delight of the chase, the thrill of nature's rhythm pulsing around him. With the sun slowly climbing higher, painting the sky in hues of gold and azure, Evar let the day unfold leisurely, taking breaks to enjoy the stillness that surrounded him. The solitude of the waters brought clarity to his thoughts, the gentle rocking of the boat urging him to reflect on life, the simple joys, the laughter of friends, and the beauty of nature all intertwined and deeply cherished within his heart. He returned to the boathouse as the afternoon sun began to sink lower in the sky. The world around him warmed with the colors of dusk, and he unloaded his catch with a feeling of fulfillment. As he prepared a simple meal from the fruits of the sea, he felt a profound appreciation for the cycles of life. The waves, the sky, and the land all danced together in harmony, reminding him of the interconnectedness that held everything in balance. As evening descended, the air cooled and the horizon transformed into a canvas of oranges and purples. Ivar lit a small fire in the hearth, allowing the flickering light to grow bold against the dimming sky. Sitting by the fire, he took a moment to enjoy the beauty around him, feeling at peace as the world transitioned into night. He knew that the ocean had more to offer than mere fish and shells. It held stories untold, mysteries wrapped in waves. The sound of the water lapping against the boathouse was a melody of comfort, a lullaby he had begun to cherish more than he could articulate. He poured himself a cup of tea, cradling it between his hands, feeling its warmth seep into his fingers. With the stars emerging one by one, Ever felt as though the ocean was alive, breathing alongside him, whispering secrets that beckoned him to listen. Perhaps tomorrow would hold more discoveries, more playful encounters with the creatures of the sea, or perhaps even deeper revelations as he delved into the fathoms of the waters he loved so dearly. For now, he sat in quiet solitude, watching the fire dance, letting the day's memories cascade through his mind like the gentle tide. The warmth of the flames enveloped him, bringing a feeling of belonging and quiet joy. Here, in this cherished place, he felt safe, anchored amidst the mysteries of life, and ready to embrace whatever awaited him in the depths of the ocean and beyond. And as the stars blinked overhead, forming constellations that kissed the night sky, Ever knew tomorrow would come with its promise of adventure and the beauty of the unknown, resting within the heart of the endless, inviting sea. Ivar's dreams floated like the clouds overhead, drifting and dancing, painted in shades of blue and silver. The night was deep, and the stillness of the boathouse wrapped around him like a familiar blanket. The soft sound of the waves lapping against the pilings echoed in the chambers of his mind, a soothing rhythm that carried him further into rest. As he lay there, the moonlight filtered through the small window, casting silvery shadows that played across the walls of the modest room. He could almost feel the cool touch of the ocean breeze brushing lightly against his skin, a gentle reminder of the world outside. The fire had faded to embers, leaving behind a soft warmth that lingered, cradling him in comfort. In the depths of his dreams, the playful otter appeared again, twirling and gliding effortlessly through crystal clear waters. Ever found himself swimming alongside it, the cool embrace of the sea invigorating yet calming. They explored hidden coves and vibrant reefs, where colors exploded in a dazzling display, and schools of fish darted like silver arrows through the water. Laughter filled the air, mingling with the soft calls of seabirds drifting overhead, their silhouettes painted against the vastness of the night sky. The otter led him to a hidden grotto, where the water sparkled with bioluminescent algae that illuminated their surroundings in a shimmering glow. Ever marveled at the beauty, feeling a feeling of wonder that transcended the mundane worries of the waking world. It was a sanctuary, a place untouched and magical, and he felt an overwhelming sense of peace wash over him. As they swam, Ever noticed the stars shimmering above, reflecting on the surface of the water like a million tiny lanterns. Each twinkle seemed to carry a story, a whisper of adventure waiting to unfold. In that moment, he understood that life was an ever evolving journey, each day a new page, each encounter a fleeting treasure. Time slipped away, as it often does in dreams, and Ever felt a gentle pull guiding him back toward the boathouse, back to the warmth and safety of his bed. The otter waved goodbye, dipping beneath the surface, and Ever smiled, holding on to the joy of their adventure. The ocean would always be there, a vast expanse of mystery and discovery, waiting patiently for his return. As he reluctantly awoke, the soft light of the morning began to filter through the window, a delicate transition from the depths of sleep to the embrace of a new day. Ever stretched, feeling the lingering warmth of the blankets, the echo of the waves still singing to him. He opened his eyes slowly, letting the tranquility of the night settle in his heart. The boathouse felt like a haven, filled with the scents of salt and wood, the promise of a new adventure lingering in the air. As he sat out, he smiled, recalling the playful otter and the hidden grotto, an enticing reminder of the magic that lay just beyond the horizon. Evar knew that the ocean was alive with stories yet to be discovered, and his heart swelled with anticipation. He rose, moving to the window to let in the fresh morning air. The sea was calm, a shimmering expanse of blue, and the world outside was awakening with soft sounds, the calls of gulls, the rustle of leaves, and the gentle lap of waves against the shore. With a renewed sense of purpose, he looked forward to the day ahead, ready to embrace whatever mysteries the ocean would unveil. And so, Ever stepped into a new day, the memories of the night carrying with him like a cherished secret. He would gather his gear, prepare his boat, and set out once more. The sun would rise, illuminating the path before him, but for now he took a moment to breathe, to appreciate the quiet beauty of the small boathouse beside the calm coastal water. As he filled his lungs with the salty air, he felt a surge of gratitude for this life he led, filled with wonder, serenity, and the promise of adventure. The ocean awaited, as did the stories of the day, ready to be written, ready to be lived. And in that moment, wrapped in the warmth of his home, Ever let the world around him fade into the background, allowing himself a final, peaceful moment of rest before embarking on his next journey. With a gentle sigh, he leaned back against the soft pillows, closing his eyes once more, surrendering to the soothing rhythms of the waves, and letting the calm wash over him as sleep pulled him under once more, deep and tranquil, a comforting embrace beneath the vast, starry sky.